I-86 After Dark recommends simply the best cleaning services. Call 716-912-6940. Western New York's cleaning and restoration leader. From Buffalo to Long Island, this is I-86 After Dark. Welcome to I-86 After Dark, everybody. It is Wednesday night, the 17th. Unfortunately, we had a few technical difficulties, so this episode is being pre-recorded. But of course, you got me, the Ginger Hammer. Buffalo Bob's with us. Producer John is not feeling well tonight, so he's not behind the desk as usual. But how's it going, man?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Wojak, and unfortunately, I'm gonna miss you for the 2 weeks because
It's gonna be
starting
more
next,
than 2 weeks, dude. It's gonna be a while.
yeah, a while, as in 3, 4 weeks, doesn't matter. We'll
Maybe a
figure
little
some.
longer. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I did want to address that. So yes, I am taking some time away from the show. I have a few side projects and some different work commitments I have going on, but I am still going to be here and still managing some stuff on our Facebook page, of course. I'm still going to be here for some interviews, and we're not going to say too much about that yet, but we have some really good stuff coming up, and so
Oh yeah,
especially if you like things with the Bills and Sabres, and then of course, if you like things with the Islanders, you're gonna have a nice treat coming your way.
oh yeah, definitely. We won't reveal everybody yet, but we've already interviewed. I want to say 5 people as of
Hmm.
now, so we're
Yeah.
not gonna reveal any names. Darius Kasparov was our pilot episode interview, and then our next guest, who will be coming on shortly, is Urinating Tree,
Yep.
and I gotta tell you, man, I'm very excited about bringing him on. He was one of a kind, absolutely, for sure.
He was. That was a fun interview when we had the chance to really get to know him and talk with him a bit. And you guys are going to be in for a really nice treat. So, of course, we're going to have that coming up as we get a little bit later into the show. And then, of course, we've got some more fun things coming up. So, of course, we'll tell you a little bit about that as we go forward. And then, of course, at a later point, Buffalo Bob's going to have a nice little announcement for himself too, but we won't spoil that yet. So that being said, you know what? Hey, let's get on to the show. So of course, you can join us on all the platforms, and let's start off with the Buffalo Bills because it was an annihilation of the New York Jets, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, no. I literally look back on that game in week 2 at MetLife Stadium against the Jets, and all I have to say was, is people were saying all week, "Oh, this was a trap game." They were saying, "Oh, the Jets, they came off a big, loss against the Steelers. They were putting up points and things like that." And then comes game day on Sunday, all of a sudden, here comes the Bills. They go
Mhm.
in and kick the living shit out of them, and the score
Yeah.
of 30-10.
Yeah, and it was interesting because Josh Allen didn't really have to do much. He only threw for 148, and of course he has the busted nose, as many of you got to see. And then Mitch Trubisky came in for 2 plays and actually had a hell of a throw. I mean, 2 throws, 2 attempts. But he landed one for 32 yards, and basically altogether, I mean, they didn't have to do much on the air. But when you look at the rushing game, though, that's where things really shined. And James Cook, 132 yards on 21 attempts, 2 touchdowns, average of 6.29 per carry. He had the long run of 44, so that was great to see. Josh Allen had a run of he had 59 yards altogether on 6 carries, and then Ray Davis was in 24 yards on 9 attempts. Taron Johnson got some time. Moore got some time as well. And the only downside on yardage was Mitch Trubisky at -3 yards. But when you look at it all together, I mean, the receiving core was pretty evenly split. Palmer and Kincaid, I mean, had some pretty good outings. I mean, Shakir, I mean, he only had one catch for 12 yards, but they were pretty balanced when you look at the offense, and there wasn't a whole lot that they had to do. But the defense really ended up keeping the Bills in the game, and I mean, they absolutely just dominated.
Yeah, no, but I want to give credit where credit is due to Joey Bosa because Joey Bosa was everywhere on the field on Sunday. I gotta tell you, he was over the field. The
Mhm.
defense was just staggering. They were all over the Jets. And I've seen a lot of people say within the Jets fandom that this team is not going anywhere, unsurprisingly. And they're starting to catch up on a phase from Aaron Glenn basically saying, I have to look at the tape or I have to look at the film. That sounds like every other coach the Jets have had in the last 10 fucking years.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, yeah, just like Robert Saleh, just like when Todd Bowles was there, just like of course Rex Ryan before he got fired after everything.
Adam Gase,
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, he was the worst one out of that group.
yeah, the Jets are stupid, but
Yeah. Yeah, they're not in a good spot right now. But, that being said, I mean, even with Buffalo having some injuries and being depleted in some of their positions, they still showed up. They did exactly what they had to do, and they played smart. And they sure could they have run it up a little bit more? Absolutely, they could have. But you know what? They went about it the right way, and quite honestly, it was a good game. They just straight out dominated. The Jets did nothing. In some phases, it was a snooze fest, quite honestly.
yeah, you know what though? Like I said, a lot of people were saying that this was going to be a trap game, but I never viewed it that way. I always said, I think the Bills should be able to take down the Jets like normal, but you never know with that offense, with Justin Fields, and then you're having a whole new coaching system and Aaron Glenn coming in, and the Jets just look like a very different team at that point, at that
Hmm.
time. In the first like week of the season against Pittsburgh, you think, okay, the new pieces are being brought in, and the Jets don't look anything that like they were in the past. All this excitement, but things have really went south because Justin Fields is now in concussion protocol as of this recording, and the Jets are deep shit because they play the Buccaneers on Sunday in Tampa Bay, and the
Hmm.
Bills play the Miami Dolphins tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, Miami. Oh my God. After they had that loss this past week, I just totally had to laugh. They got beat by the Patriots 33-27. Tua looks like ass. McDaniel's on the hot seat. And basically at this point, Tyler Tarabocia is having a total meltdown because his Dolphins can't beat the Patriots and they couldn't beat Danny Dimes.
Yeah, no, that it's kind of pathetic in its own right, but it's crazy to me to think that there's been so much shit going on, and it's been 2 weeks into the season already, soon to be three going into tomorrow.
Mhm.
And ironically enough, is that the big four, as a lot of people are saying, is the Bills, of course, the Eagles, the Packers, and the Chargers. The
Mhm.
Chargers? Jesus Christ. The Chargers are in the top four, Thomas.
Who would have thought something like that would have happened? I
Not
mean,
me.
20-9 against the Raiders. I mean, they end up beating Pete Carroll at home, but I would have not thought that um, the Chargers would have gotten off to a quick start like that. I really wouldn't have thought it. And their offense right now, they have a lot of holes at this point.
They do. And you know what? I gotta give Jim he's really turned Justin Herbert into a good quarterback. And it's not to say that Herbert wasn't always a good quarterback. He was. It's just the Chargers never really had a stellar offensive line. And
Hmm.
then now you give him all these weapons from Lad McConkey to Keenan Allen, Najee Harris in the back end, O'Marion Hampton, and then you have Will Disley at tight end. I mean, they have a good defense too with Durbin
Hmm.
James. The Chargers are a very different team that what people are accustomed seeing.
Yeah.
When I think of the Chargers, I don't think of them as ever in that conversation as Super Bowl contender, unless this was like Philip Rivers and Antonio Gates 20 years ago. But, it's nice to actually sit here today in 2025 and sit here and say, wow, another team, not the Chiefs, is representing the AFC West.
Right. It's good to see. It's nice to see some different teams doing some different things. And then when you look at some of the other matchups that happened over the weekend, the Packers ended up beating the Commanders 27-18, which the Commanders they did start tearing down RFK Stadium, so they're going to have their new stadium by 2030.
Yes, that came out today, surprisingly. And you know what? Good on Washington. They definitely deserved it. And they've been needing that for a very long time, ever since, I've been to that piece of shit FedEx Field or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, Northwest Stadium, I think now is what it's called. But yeah, I've never heard good things about that place.
It's a dump. I can outright confirm that.
All right, good to know. And hey, at least they're back in actual DC, which will be nice. It'll be easy for everyone to get to. They can tailgate, you can take the train there, you can do whatever you want to do. It's going to be right back home where they used to be. So good to see that. Then of course, the grudge match, the Ravens versus the Browns, and it was no contest. The Browns got their ass handed to them 41-17, which Lamar had a field day. Of course, Derek King Henry field day. There's nothing really else to discuss there other than they just got their ass handed to them. And then of course the Bengals and the Jaguars. And the Jaguars end up losing 31-27. And who would have thought that with the situation that Cincinnati has right now at QB, and of course going out with turf toe, and who knows how long he'll be out, but Cincinnati's out to a 2-0 start.
There's two things I want to point out about this. The first one is people have already declared, and maybe you may disagree with me on this, is people have declared Joe Burrow to be this generation's Andrew Luck. That's a big argument I've heard because obviously, if you know about Andrew Luck, he was a very good quarterback, but the Colts with Jim Irsay and that dipshit of an owner, may he rest in
Hmm.
peace, never gave Andrew Luck the resources to be successful behind a good offensive line
Oh
outside
yeah.
of Quentin Nelson. The same thing is happening in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. Maybe instead of paying three wide receivers or two wide receivers, and Trey Hendrickson and Joe Burrow, maybe the Bengals wouldn't be in this situation, but they're unfortunately in it, and a lot of people have also said is that if this is going to happen, then you're better off of watching Burrow dominate someplace else. And the
Yeah.
rumor I've heard is that Burrow might end up going up to the Bengals after the season is over, whether they make the playoffs or not. There is a load of speculation that he might end up requesting a trade out of Cincinnati.
Well, there goes that team if that happens, because right now Cincinnati has nothing else. I mean, it's basically Burrow's team.
Well, everything rides and dies on Joe Burrow, and I think
Yeah.
any diehard football fan would tell you that.
Yep, of course. And then looking at some of the other snooze fest games that we had on Sunday, the Cowboys end up beating the Giants 40-37, which means of course Dayball's even further on the hot seat. And hey, Millman's got to be happy with the Cowboys getting their first win of the year.
Yeah, see, here's the thing about that Cowboys Giants game. It wasn't as terrible as I thought people said it was going to be. Is I actually, me and my wife were watching it after the Bills game. The Bills game, I think it was a little bit more boring because it was a blowout. Of course,
Right.
I'll take the win. I'm not going to take anything for granted, but we only had two choices at that time. It was the Bills Jets game and it was Cowboys Giants. We turned on the Cowboys Giants game, and the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter in
Hmm.
Dallas was one of the most crazy, like, regular season games that I've seen in a while. And you have Malik Neighbors making that blinded catch,
Hmm.
Russell Wilson just throwing it at like 10 years younger, throwing that fucking cannon across
Right.
AT&T Stadium, and then going into overtime with just 3 seconds to go, and then it's just like, oh my God. Then you see the Giants, shooting themselves in the foot, and the Cowboys on their third try with Brandon Aubrey with 3 seconds left in overtime scores the game-winning field goal, and the Cowboys beat the Giants. But I do think that though, it was one of the more entertaining games at least I've seen in a while, surprisingly.
Yeah. And then you want to talk about another blowout. The Lions, they go back to 1-1 because they ended up annihilating the Bears 52-21.
The Bears suck. Next.
Yeah, exactly. Then of course the 49ers and the Saints and the Saints lose 26-21. Well, whatever. That was another snooze fest. And then we already talked about the Patriots and Dolphins, which is just absolutely hilarious that the Dolphins as of tomorrow night could be 0-3. And here's what I would love to see. It's like Tyreek Hill wanting to get out. Tua basically, we already know he's one concussion from being dead. And then we already know that Mike McDaniel and, of course, Ross are on the hot seat.
Yeah, no, it's funny because the Dolphins are kind of like right now in a bit of a disarray, and I think that's in a sense it's a disaster because the Miami Dolphins have been riding on this ship for a while, and that's not a good thing to have.
Right. 100%. And then looking at some of the other games, the Seahawks ended up going into Pittsburgh and they beat the Steelers 31 to 17, which of course the Steelers are in a rough spot right now as well. And Aaron Rodgers really did not look good. And that whole offense is trash right now. They really didn't look that good. And then when you look at what Seattle was able to do, especially with JSN, there you go. I mean, that basically seals the deal for them.
Yeah, one thing I want to read to you from the Miami Dolphins themselves is I went on their Facebook page and I saw this and it got turned into a meme.
Hmm.
Is the Dolphins' three keys to the game against the Bills tomorrow? And they said, number one, shut down Buffalo's run game. News advice, good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And
Exactly.
number two, use the imme yeah, sorry. Number two, use the intermediate pass game mixed with the run. Yeah, you're playing the Bills, not the fucking Cardinals.
Right.
And three, win the turnover battle. Yeah, I'm sorry. Wasn't there a stat recently that said that Bills currently have the longest streak in the NFL right now as we speak, knock on wood,
Hmm.
about not committing a turnover?
That's true. We don't cough the ball up that much, Miami.
No, and I truly think that they're really just grasping for straws here because I think Dolphins fans have resigned themselves to the point where they're like, yeah, we're gonna be shit for a while, if not longer. Tua's not the guy in quote. And he actually made a comment today saying that he can't do any of the stuff that Josh Allen can do. In other
Wow.
words, that
He finally
he's
admitted it.
yeah. So in other words, he's inferior to Josh Allen. He's inferior to Drake May or any of the AFC, opponents. But regarding Josh Allen, he's like, yeah, we're not beating this guy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Then, of course, other snooze fest games that we had, there were the Rams and the Titans, where the Rams go to 2-0 and they ended up winning 33 and 19. And then, of course, you want to talk about a real snooze fest, the Cardinals and the Panthers, where the Cardinals actually had improved to 2-0 as they beat the Panthers 27 to 22.
Yeah, it was whatever. But if you want to talk about a real snooze fest game, there's two on my mind. The first one was the Sunday night game between the Falcons and the Vikings. Holy shit, that game was
God, that
boring.
was awful.
Somebody on NBC should be fired, or the scheduling perspective.
That
Who
game was seriously one of the most boring games I have watched on a Sunday night, and I can't even remember how long.
Why did they even put the Falcons and Vikings as a primetime game?
Yeah,
You could have put Eagles and Chiefs on primetime, but
that would
no,
have at least been worth it.
and what's the storyline? Oh, Penix and McCarthy met in the NCAA championship game a few years ago. Fuck that. I mean, not everybody's a big college football fan.
Right.
Like, I don't watch college football, but I at least knew about it. But it's like it would have been more entertaining if Kirk Cousins played. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, it seriously would have. I mean, literally, it was a game of field goals up until like the end of the second half. It was pathetic just watching that. And McCarthy looked like ass. Penix didn't do too much, but it was literally one of the most boring Sunday night games I've ever seen. Now, the Eagles and the Chiefs, that game was interesting to watch, even though
Oh
Kansas
yeah.
City was getting their ass handed to them for three-quarters of it.
That game actually had aspirations. For one, because if you look at the Bengals, they're 2-0 now. Sure, Joe Burrow's going on IR for 3 months. The Chiefs are 0-2. The Ravens have the tiebreaker loss, and the Bills are currently right now the number one seed in the AFC, except somehow Indianapolis is there. But aside
Yeah.
from that, that game had everything on the line for the Bills this week. And everything that went right.
Yep, exactly. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the Colts actually ended up getting a last-second win against the Broncos, 29 to 28. And how about that last sequence where Indianapolis goes for a field goal, they miss it, but then the Broncos have the worst penalty possible at the worst time for 15 yards.
Fucking dumbasses.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Broncos lose on a field goal. So
You lost to Indiana Jones.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Then we had two other games. I mean, well, we already talked about the Chargers and Raiders, but the other game we really haven't talked about, the Texans and the Bucks, and basically Tampa ends up winning 20-19, so they improved to 2-0, and the Texans are 0-2 to start the season, which is a little surprising.
Well, I have a confession to make about Houston, and my verdict on them so far is CJ Stroud is in what, his third year.
Hmm.
I feel like the Texans, as far as he's been the QB, I feel like they're just going to be below average. I feel like at this point, like that's the fullest amount of potential you're going to get out of Stroud. Like,
Right.
yeah, he has two playoff wins, something I'll never take away from him. But this year alone, in the start of the season, he has not been very impressive.
No, he hasn't. And I think part of what Houston needs to do is seriously when you go into the draft next season, you gotta keep building that offense around him because I mean, of course, CJ Stroud's first year he had Stephon Diggs there, but he's not there anymore. You got to get at least a second wide receiver that can go alongside him. You have to start building. And plus, the other thing too is you can't keep getting destroyed at the line of scrimmage either. I mean, you got to get some offensive tackles or something going because right now I mean, Stroud can do some good things, but that offense is a shell of what it was in year one.
Yeah, no, it's not a good look in general for Houston. That offensive line was easily one of the worst I have seen this year. And normally the Texans are a consistent playoff team
Hmm.
in in a couple of years since they got CJ Stroud. But I feel like they really went down under this year. Even it's only been two games. I mean, it's bad enough that they're going to be playing um on Sunday. I'm not exactly sure who they play. I can look it up real quick because you
Right.
know what it was? I was thinking of the Colts, and they're playing the Titans coming up on Sunday. I
Hmm.
know that for a fact. But why does that matter to me? I have no idea. But um, as far as Houston, they play Jacksonville. There's your answer.
Okay, so Houston has a chance to get a win on the board.
Yeah, a chance. Unless they go on three, them and Miami potentially. Jesus Christ.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, and actually, you know what? Hey, we'll do our little pick'em segment too before we jump into a little bit more of football news. But let's let's take a look at what's going to come up for this week. So obviously, the big game, which is going to be tomorrow night, which kicks off football for the week, Miami and Buffalo. That's an easy one. Buffalo's going to win it, and I don't
Yeah, the
even think
Bills are
it's
gonna
going to
win
be
that one.
close.
Yeah, I would almost at that point say the Bills are gonna win it pretty easily.
Yep, for sure. And if we wanted to put a prop bet, who would want to guess that Mike McCarthy is the first to get fired this season?
Mike McCarthy.
No, I mean Mike McDaniel. Sorry.
Mike McDaniel, yeah. I was gonna say Mike McCarthy got fired a year ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we all remember that. I don't know why I
Yeah.
was thinking that for a moment.
Yeah, I think you meant to say McDaniel, but
Yeah.
okay, so Patriots and Steelers. That's what you were saying at that point.
Yeah, so Patriots and Steelers, I would say Pittsburgh's gonna win it.
All right, give me New England.
All
Give me the
right.
Patriots.
Okay, cool. Carolina and Atlanta.
Oh, that's easy, Atlanta.
Yeah, same here. And then Green Bay and Cleveland, I'm gonna say Green Bay easily on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely Green Bay. Packers are just very good right now. Defensively, they're very good.
Solid. Yeah, great pickup getting Micah Parsons. Thank you, Jerry Jones.
Fuck you, Jerry. He should have been
Yeah,
traded to Buffalo.
exactly, exactly. Who do you think would take Jacksonville and Houston?
I'd probably say Jacksonville just because I don't have faith in Houston's offensive line, and they haven't shown that they could really improve.
Yeah, and I would say Jacksonville is better built all around. So I would go with them. And then how about what will probably be a snooze fest, Cincinnati versus Minnesota,
Oh yeah, I'm so excited to watch Carson Wentz take on Jake fucking Browning. I'm so happy.
right?
What an awesome matchup.
Oh, that's gonna be
God.
a snooze fest.
All right, but if I'm being honest, I'm gonna give it to the just because Browning has a little more experience at this stage than Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I'm thinking, given everything, I think Cincinnati would probably take it. And then we've got the LA Raiders and the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm thinking, okay, we've got a battle of two 2-0 teams, but Philly is looking really good right now.
Did you just say LA Raiders?
Rams.
I thought you said Raiders for a second. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That they haven't been
I'm
there in
thinking
like
like 15 years past or something weird. No, LA Rams and Philadelphia Eagles.
give me the Eagles. It just sounds like a
Yep.
safe for me. Even by Philly standard, I don't even think they're that hot either.
No, there were a lot of issues that came up in that Kansas City game. And I mean, LA, they're a good team right now. I mean, they've come out swinging and they have improved in some different areas. I mean, there's still some areas on their offense that's not great, but they've been able to hold their own. So, but I would still say Philly's going to be the better team of the two. So, of course, I'll take them. Then, of course, Tampa versus the New York Jets.
Uh, Taking the Bucks because fuck the Jets, and
Yep.
I don't know if Tyrod's going to be the guy that kind of helps them out. I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah, give me Tampa on that one easily. Then, of course, we have Indy and Tennessee. I'm going to take the shoe, which is, of course, the Colts. I don't think Tennessee wins this one at all.
The Jets surprised.
Mhm. Yep. Then, of course, the battle of two 1-1 teams. We have Vegas versus Washington.
Um, it sounds one-sided. In Washington.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. Vegas, their offense is trash right now, and their defense is not that great.
No, not at all.
Yep. And then, of course, we've got a Sunday afternoon game, Denver versus LA Chargers, and I gotta say, both are fairly close, but you know what? Denver's gonna have that chip on their shoulder after they ended up blowing that last second field goal to Indy. So I think Denver has enough. They could actually come back and pull off a win against LA.
I don't know. I'm going to take the Chargers. I just feel this sense that, because the Chargers are now starting to pick up momentum,
Hmm.
beating the shit out of Geno Smith wasn't enough, and beating Patrick Mahomes wasn't enough. So I think they want to really make a statement and get a full grasp on the AFC West. So I think by beating the Chargers, I think will deliver their goods.
Yep. All right. And there's your football picks for the week here on I-86 After Dark. Of course, sponsored by Simply the Best Cleaning Services. If you need any water, mold remediation, or general cleaning services here in the Buffalo area, give them a call. They are certainly happy to help you out at any time, and they do offer 24-hour service as well, based out of North Tonawanda, New York. And of course, feel free to give them a call. You can reach them at 716-912-6940, and they're a proud sponsor of I-86 After Dark, so check them out. So that being said, one of the other things that we wanted to talk about before we jump into the interview with Urinating Tree is how about the New York Jets denied Parsons?
Say the line for these.
The Jets are fucking stupid. That's just the best way to say it.
Jets are stupid. That is right. So there was a report that came out recently. I want to say yesterday. There
Hmm.
was a rumor that came out the time that Micah Parsons was available for trade. The Dallas Cowboys reached out to the Jets about a potential trade that would have sent Parsons to the Jets. There was a problem. The Jets did not want to give up Quinn Williams and two first-round picks. And on top of all this, the Jets were not willing to match Jerry Jones's asking price and didn't want to give up Q Will.
It's like Earth to New York Jets, Earth to Woody. You could have done something to improve your team and you didn't.
As if that wasn't enough.
Yeah. And they
And
wonder why
you
they're not getting any playoff appearances anytime soon.
and you wonder why Woody Johnson will not sell the team. I mean, how much more stupid shit can you think of coming from the New York Jets? I mean, it's crazy enough that not only did you get the shit kicked out of you by the Bills for the billionth year in a row at this point, not only that, but you also denied a trade for Parsons. You could have arguably had the best pass rushing unit in the AFC East, and
Hmm.
instead you were too prideful and you said, "Oh, I want to hold on to Quentin Williams. Fuck Jerry Jones. We're gonna just keep our guys."
And that's why the New York Jets will never win a Super Bowl.
No, and that's the scary part about them. I mean, it's not scary to me, but it's scary to Jets fans that they have an owner that's so incompetent and he's so distraught about his own image that he's willing to say no to a trade that would have sent arguably the best pass rusher in all of football to the AFC East. That would have gave the Bills nightmares at that point if
Hmm.
that trade even went through. And I'm glad it didn't because now if you look at the Packers, since getting Michael Parsons, they look like a completely different ball team at this point.
Yeah, they do. And it was a huge win for Green Bay to get them. And that team, it's a night and day difference now. It's a night and day difference having Parsons there. And with how he's delivered, especially in the first two games, and when you look at how he opened up against Detroit and just totally annihilated that line, I mean, that's why you got him. So, hey, the New York Jets, sorry, you're still stupid. You're going to remain that way.
Yeah, and even by this point, you have the Bills, the Packers, the Eagles, and the Chargers as of week 3 in the
Hmm.
top four. That is honestly fucking insane. Think
Yeah,
about that for a minute. There's no Kansas City.
right.
There's
Nobody
there's
thought
no
they would have been 0 2.
Yeah, no, I'm shocked. There's no Kansas City. There's no Baltimore in this case. There's no Cincinnati. You have
Right.
two AFC teams that are respectable, and you have the Eagles and you have the Packers. I knew at some point Green Bay was going to turn it around,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
that trade absolutely justified their moves.
Yeah. It fast forwarded them 100%. I mean, it absolutely fast forwarded them. But who would have thought in the AFC East that the New England Patriots would be 1 and in second place right now?
Uh, Kind of me because I kind of thought that the Dolphins weren't going to be good. I knew the Jets were going to suck this year. I knew all that. But it's crazy to me to think that all of this was happening, and yet people were saying, well, the Jets are going to be better. No, no, the Jets were not going to be better.
Right. So, you know what? It'll be interesting to see what happens this Sunday with the majority of the games, of course, with Buffalo playing tomorrow night. You know, just thinking about the schedule that they don't have a playoff team until week 9. So, what I would say in this case for the Bills, just stay humble. Any given Sunday, anything can happen. And you know what? Just enjoy it because there will probably be several very good wins that we will be able to work with. So, with that being said, we're going to wrap up our football segment. Of course, stick around. Urinating Tree is coming up. Welcome to I-86 After Dark. This is the exclusive interview with Urinating Tree. And of course, you got myself, Ginger Hammer, you got Bob, you got John, and of course, you got Mr. Tree over here. And first, hey, thanks for coming on. We appreciate having you.
Hi, thank guys. I'm glad you had me on. Thank you for letting me on. Appreciate it.
You got it. Anytime, anytime. So, who wants to do the honors to get us started off?
I guess I will. I mean, Trey, we've watched your content for about maybe 7, 8 years now, and to my
Oh, thank you.
surprise, I actually bring your name up a lot to get, new subscribers for you and all that.
Nice. Appreciate it, man.
50% of the people that I have talked to have either said, "Oh, I love Urinating Tree," or have never heard of the guy. But we do have people who have never heard of you before. But you want to give a background of where the name Urinating Tree comes from?
I wish I had this fun story to tell about how it revolved on like a golden tree that randomly bequeathed the name upon me, but in reality, it's just me being an edgelord on Xbox Live when I was 15. I believe I was playing, I think this was over 20 years ago now. I believe it was called Rainbow Six Black Arrow, I think it was. It was a video game for the Xbox. I was playing it at the time because me and my brother had shared an Xbox Live account, and you're thinking like, okay, what's the edgiest name that I could think of at the time? And I'm sitting there, it'd be a funny name, Urinating Tree. And I don't know why, it just stuck. I know it's weird to think of for a football name. I know people have mentioned like in the past to change it, but I mean it's just stuck. I don't know why. It's just I don't get it. But that's just the story. I wish there were a better story for me to say, but that's it.
I mean, in a way, it's kind of funny because it's like your whole name alone is like this cultural icon in the world of sports, and anybody that mentions your name, it's like Baltimore in a sense, not in a bad way, of course, but it's like
Mhm.
everyone knows who you are at this point. It's kind of funny.
In some way, yeah. I mean, as I said, it's just trying to find ways to keep everything fresh. I'd say that's the main thing I'm trying to aim for right now. It's kind of a juggling act if you can truly think about it, but that's just how things go sometimes.
What comes around goes around.
Yep.
10
No.
plus years, baby.
Yeah. Now, obviously, of course, you've been on YouTube for quite a while now, and out of all the videos that you've done, what would you say is one of your videos that you are the most proud of?
Ooh, in terms of a proud video, I'd probably say one of the legacies of failure. Because the thing is, I would love to do more of them. They just take a long time to gestate research and properly dig into for some of the stuff. I'm working on a couple right now. Like one, I'm working on a script for the Vancouver Canucks legacy of failure. So I've gotten to
Ooh.
about 2000, I think late 2010s on that script. But the problem is, it's just like I get distracted with other stuff, and it's hard to really just sit down and focus on things when there's just so much going on, like in terms of sports and life. Because come like a couple weeks from now, I am just going to be stuck in this computer area until about February. I'll just see the seasons change. I'll be like, well, family, I'll see you in February.
We were
That's pretty
just
much.
there. We were just in
I,
Vancouver.
I know. I mean, I've never actually been to Vancouver. I hear it's beautiful,
It
pricey but
is.
beautiful. I've only been to Toronto and Hamilton. I was in Hamilton oddly for a convention in 2019. So like I said it's kind of stuck in the 80s, but it's a weird dynamic going from Toronto to Hamilton.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was gonna say last time I was in Toronto is when my co-host Bobby here was up here visiting. So that's the last time we
Nice.
were up there. But no, Vancouver's a fun city, and one
Hmm.
thing we'll always remember is the only place we got pulled over in a secondary inspection at the border coming back.
Ooh.
Oh God, I remember that story.
Yeah, like 2 o'clock in the morning when we were on our way back after a Canucks game. So
Yeah,
back
we
to
literally got
Seattle.
pulled over by Border Patrol because they thought, what was the reason, Tom?
He was pulling everybody over, but we had the rental car. So I don't know what it was. They just wanted to search it, but literally is like it was enough for us to go in, have a pee break, and come back out. I was like, oh yeah, you're fine.
Hmm.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, dude was a hot shot at the border too. I wanted to like smack him, but it is what it is. So
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
yeah, but no, fun city. It was a good arena and definitely a lot of cool stuff to see. So oh, definitely a fun time.
This seems like a fun time. I agree.
Yeah, you should totally go there. I mean, honestly, even if you're going to Seattle for like a week, because that's what me and my co-host Tom did about last October. It was
Yeah.
the two of us and my wife. The three of us went to Seattle for the
Ooh,
Bill Seahawks game, and that was a great time overall.
Yeah.
We also went to a Seattle
nice.
Kraken game, and that was kind of unique on its own because
Ooh.
the food there, he just went berserk, almost like cocaine with all
Ooh.
the amount of
Best arena
food.
food I've ever had.
Were you in like the private suites or were you just like in
Oh,
the actual
just
stadium?
regular seating bowl.
Ooh,
And
because
they actually have like good stuff that most arenas you will not find.
I
Like
know,
any normal stuff.
I know PPG or like the old Console Energy Center, they've
Yeah.
really improved in a lot of their food offerings over the past like 5 to 10 years. So I know they have like a local restaurants that come in do their
Hmm.
thing. I know with Seattle, you could probably do a lot of stuff with,
Yeah.
the sort of like the unique arena situation they have where it's all like zero carbon, everything's completely recycled. You can do a lot with the restaurants in the area, especially with
Yeah.
seafood. So I,
Yeah. And they had quite a bit of that in there. I mean, they had like fresh made to order burgers, they had like fish sandwiches, they have like some
ooh,
crazy
nice.
ramen stuff that they make. I'm trying to think. I had like a soup dumpling thing. He had a
The Seattle
Seattle
dog.
dog. I mean, they had so many different things, and it was open for everybody, which was actually pretty cool. It wasn't just going into the suites, although it was
Nice.
kind of funny. Apparently, didn't one of the arena people say that people tried to eat the one of the plant walls in the arena,
I don't remember.
That sounds
Yeah,
about right.
and they had like the signage on there. It's like, please don't eat the plant.
you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people who are high as shit when they go to Climate Punch Arena. They just take that one small piece of weed and be like, ah,
Hmm.
shit, I want something to eat. Let me just eat the fucking wall.
Yeah, legalized weed dispensaries right there. So
No,
Yeah.
Seattle was fun though. If you ever
it
get a
was.
chance, Treat, go because that's honestly probably one of the best like touristy like cities on the west coast of the United States.
I mean, I've been to Portland before a couple times, like recently these past couple of weeks. So I've been to Washington, a little casino, Alani Casino, but that's Southern Washington. I've never actually been like in the Pacific Northwest, like Seattle, Tacoma, that sort of area.
Yeah, it's a fun spot. I mean, definitely take a ride over at Pike Place Market if you get a chance to, and they'll do like the fish toss and all that stuff. And we actually ran into a bubblegum wall that they had in one of the hidden alleys over there too. So they have like a ton of crazy things, but a lot of fun over there. And totally, if you're into like the food scene and all that, I mean, there's so many good places out there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's like Pike Place Market, I believe. That's like you see like the salmon toss, the bubblegum wall that Tom was talking about, and there's a bunch of other things too, like pizza bagels, not like bagel bites, but like a
Oh,
full on like fudge bagel that tastes like tomato sauce or something like that.
oh.
Yeah. And then remember how I got pissed off about how I found out that my one thing of cider cost me like 17 bucks just for like a tall or something?
I remember that. And I gotta be honest, that was really idiotic of you to do that, to buy
Well, they
something
didn't say
that
nothing until I like freaking swiped my card. I'm like, holy shit. It's like I'm like, okay, that's 17 bucks down the drain. It was good, but it wasn't 17 bucks worth good.
no, not by any means. But
Hmm.
but it was worth it though. Seattle is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But because you make so many videos like baseball, hockey, football, basketball, like I lost count at this point because I watch your videos all the time. And by the way, my wife is a big fan of your football videos. I just
Oh,
want to clear that up really quick.
thank you. I know, like the thing is, like sometimes, like I get that stuff. It's like I've gotten people said, it's like, "Oh, my wife can't stand your videos." I'm like, "Please tell her I'm sorry."
That's awesome. But because of all the sports and all the juggling, I don't know how you do it. I mean, that's a lot more than I can juggle. But what topics, though, do you like talking about in your videos the most? Like, what's your favorite?
I would say probably hockey's probably my favorite to talk about. I mean, the problem is like sometimes a lot of stuff gets samey, so it's hard to really like dig into sometimes. But if I would say like probably hockey the most, a little bit of baseball and football, but otherwise I like also delving into the historical topics because there's a lot of stuff you can
Nice.
kind of like dig into that you can't really get into in the modern game. Just a lot of unique situations that, at least from what I've seen.
That makes sense. I mean, I do love your hockey videos because I'm an Islander fan, so I have to deal with your shit every time when the Islanders play the Penguins every year.
Well,
It's
the
a
Islanders have been beating the Penguins pretty badly in recent history, so I mean, you've been
well,
okay there.
I mean, from my retrospective, I was actually at the first game in 2019 against Pittsburgh at the All Coliseum a year before,
Oh,
the global pandemic and all that bullshit.
yep.
I was actually at that game, which is kind of funny
That
enough.
was the OT winner, right?
Yeah, that was Josh Bailey.
Bailey? Oh, all right. Yeah, because I know like 19, they just got crushed. That was at game four in that game because the tickets were dirt cheap. Me and my girlfriend at the time went. And it was just, there wasn't really a goal scored. By the time that empty netter got scored, that whole place just filed out. And I mean, filed out. It's like, might as well just stay there the whole time. I think I still have video of like people just like driving for the stands. It's like, fuck this, we're out of here.
God damn.
Oh man. Should we tell them about the Swedish media incident story?
Oh
Hmm.
God, he's gonna laugh.
Yeah, my one and only time in the old barn before they close it out. But then again, it's like, oh, I was gonna say, good idea for legacy of failure to Buffalo Sabres because they ended up trying to hit me up for season tickets again. I'm like, fuck this, no.
Ooh.
I think that story alone deserves its own like urinating tree like narration, but like an animated style of it. I mean, you want to hear the story?
Hmm. Sure.
Okay, so I was explaining before that I'm an Islander fan and he's a Sabres fan. He flew in for the first time in Buffalo. It was me, my wife, well, my girlfriend at that time, and Tom. And what happened was this was Rasmus Dahlin's first year in the NHL, his rookie campaign.
Yep.
And this was what at the boiling point where the Sabres were just abysmal at that point.
Yeah.
This is when Jack Eichel was start to turn his head on the Sabres about the whole
Hmm.
surgery thing.
Yeah.
So at that time, we were sitting all the way down at the bottom row. And I made a sign just to get the Sabres to actually do something competent, which didn't really do much at all afterwards.
Yep.
So I got a sign for the game made, and the sign said "Fire Housley." So I'm wearing a Sabres jersey just to support Tom, and I take that sign during warm-ups, and I
Yeah.
put my
He's
hand
like,
on yeah, I just put my hand on the glass. I'm not even looking at the Sabres. I'm turning the opposite direction with the sign, and you see Evan Rodriguez just laughing, just literally within maybe 10 feet of me. And Mike Harrington, who's a beat writer for the Buffalo News at that time, he sees me from the rafters or whatever, and he says, "Oh look, a Sabres fan in the stands is holding up a sign that says Fire Housley." In Tree, I shit you not, I got fucking blasted on X by Sabres
Ooh.
fans. All you see is, "Brrrr, you're a fucking asshole. You're a douchebag. You're not a
Mhm.
real Sabres fan. Go to fucking hell," or some shit like that. I
They're
I
telling you to
will.
go back to Canada.
Yeah, go back
Mhm.
to Canada was another one.
You're a plant, something like that.
Then we had people take pictures with us with the sign in the concourse, which was hilarious.
Nice.
Because we
The
literally
real
walked
Buffalo
around
fans.
the perimeter of the Coliseum at the time with the
Yeah.
sign, and people got pictures with us, and we've got the bird flipped at us, and it was just like that was a great like overall time in
How did?
general.
Then the one Swedish media girl wanted to talk to you a little bit about the
Oh,
whole story about the sign and all that.
Oh yeah, she was
story about the sign.
yeah, she was like a really thin like blonde haired girl, blue dress and a shirt, and had this really like thick like Swedish accent or something like that. It was very interesting.
Ooh, nice.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Then Housley ended up sending someone to confiscate your sign.
yeah, and then a week later, Phil Housley got fired.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds about right.
so if you wanted to thank anybody who got Phil Housley fired in his tenure,
Might have
you
been
could thank
us.
us.
Nice.
Hmm.
It was a good time though. And I've been back to New York City ever since, and Long Island a couple times. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
Nice.
But as far as like your videos go, what's your dream or aspirations to achieve in your videos or in your career in general? Like, what are you trying to get at?
I mean, I don't know if I really have goals per se. It's more or less just to create like stuff that I enjoy doing, stuff people enjoy watching, like to keep evolving, keep like sort of like I would say like getting to the topics that I want to get to. Like I have an internal bucket list of like topics I want to get to. A lot of stuff gets in the way because, sports ball, like I'm hitting season 9 of that, which I have a hard time believing, but I have to, prepare for that, get the intros and everything done with that. And then, I mean, more or less when I finally get free time, and I'm hoping I get a little more free time this time around because every time, like, just a lot of things happen with just this sort of thing. So I would say a little bit of that. I would say like a goal of mine, more or less, because I've accomplished like a decent bit. I've done more than I could have ever fathomed, like doing this stuff right now. The stuff got me out of waiting tables. This stuff helped me buy a house. I mean, this stuff was able to allow me to see things, introduce things, go travel to places I've never been, do experiences. Like, I mean, I was able to play baseball, even though I'm horrible at it. I was able to do that. So, I mean, I've been honored to be on this ride for as long as I have. I hope it lasts for longer. So we'll see. But I mean, I'm always been the type to just like go along for the ride and go with the wind. But more or less, I'd say it's just see where it takes me. It's just the way I really see things.
very cool.
Absolutely. I mean, keep the grind going, man, because people love your content. People love you around here, man. I
Thank you,
mean,
man.
you're a legend basically in the YouTube industry. It's like over the top crazy at this point that we have the privilege to even have you here to begin with.
I mean, I'm the one that's honored because you guys chose me to be on the show. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
It's cool. John, you have a couple questions you want to jump in with?
Yeah, sure. You're an entry. Actually, funny thing is, I used to do a show back a couple of years ago called Our Nation Sports Show,
Yep.
and you were
I
actually on.
believe I was one of your interview candidates. I think I thought I remembered you. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to like be wrong or anything like that. But
Yeah,
just thinking,
that
man.
it's funny when they told me you were coming on. I kind of thought about it. I'm like, wait a second. It's been a couple of years since we've had him on because I remember, and I get a kick out of your football videos the most.
Thank you, man.
What obviously, we all have YouTube channels. What's the turnaround for like one of those videos where you're like dissecting, especially with football? Is it
Ooh.
like you start at like 6 o'clock at night and then it's up by the next morning? Like, what's the turnaround usually?
It varies. It depends on the type of scale and intensity. I know usually for videos, it takes at least a couple days minimum, just because of the editing process. It's pretty time consuming. Like, I mean, I'll take you through like just the average sports ball. Because I know it usually starts on Sunday. Like usually I have Red Zone on my television right here. Like I'll watch stuff in the background and come like 1 to 4 o'clock, I'll like take like few notes about what's going on, big events that happen, maybe injuries that have occurred during the games. I'll shit post on Twitter too most of the time, but come around 4 o'clock, I'll start my basic writing of some of the games that happened. I mean, part of me hopes they're just blowouts because they're easier to write. It only takes like 45 seconds to a minute. And, like the bigger games are like 2 to 3 minutes. I'm like, oh God, please stop. But for the most time, like get that through, work into Sunday night. Sometimes I'll stream the games too. I'm not going to do every game this year because it kind of took a bit out of me. But I feel like I'll do like, the bigger Steeler games. But I mean, for the most part, I would say come around Sunday night, I'll have most of the script done. But otherwise, it comes back to Monday. I'll work on individual stuff. I'll also take stuff to, I have some help that also comes throughout the season too. So I'll offload some of the stuff to them. We'll piece it together. I do a few things there. I'll gather the overlays and work through things like that. And then come Tuesday, you're more or less finalizing things. You have your Monday night games, trying to get a few other things done, get the extra pieces in there. I try to do the intros and like stuff like that, like Friday, Saturday after Thursday night football, just get a little bit of a head start. Because I know week one usually is just Thursday, Friday. I'll take a few of the individual segments and just try to just set them up and like at least get a head start because you have 16 games for the most part. Early in the season, you don't have much storyline and narrative, so it's straight games. Come later in the season, they become behemoths. And come Tuesday, I'll be able to get some things relatively solidified. I'll have most of it done. Wednesday is when I finalize everything, get the overlays ready. Well, overlays I usually do Tuesday night. Wednesday, I'll usually do like text vocals, check everything one more time. If there's a sponsor, make sure I have the approval for that. And then I'll usually try to release Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening, depending on that. So that's usually like a relatively basic timeline. I would say it's usually, I can't give you a time frame. Got to be at least 25 to 30 hours minimum, I would say.
Well, first of all, as a Steelers fan, I'm just going to tell you good luck with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I hope there's no days of our Steelers.
Oh, trust me, we've shit posted about him a bunch of times on our show last season.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh,
But I guess the other thing I have, I know they'll get more into the Steelers. Uh, what's your thoughts head into this year with the Giants and the Jets? How little faith do you have in them?
Ooh, well, I don't know what to really think about the Giants, more or less, because I feel like they're in a rebuilding year, but the organization doesn't want to admit they're in a rebuild because it more or less depends if Morrow wants to wipe it clean again. Because I feel like Shane and Dable are both on the hot seat. Because Shane, like, they're pissed at him because he's been like with the Manning situation at cornerback. It just turned into a mess. Nobody wants to negotiate with him. Dable's lost his luster a little bit. He has a good defense, but you're still having trouble at quarterback. You had to abandon the Daniel Jones philosophy. They're going to say it. I mean, you see Saquon dominating with the Phillies, or sorry, the Eagles, but it just, I mean, what do you really say in that situation?
I mean, I'll put it this way: as a Giants fan, I know we have our work cut out for us this year, being that, you have Dallas who they're hit or miss. I feel like the Commanders, surprisingly enough, I think they're going to be the team. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to be called anymore now because I've heard stuff now that they're going supposedly back to the Redskins name again. So I don't know what's their name going to be now.
I don't know what to say anymore. It's sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I'll believe it when I see it happen.
I mean, honestly, if I had to sit here right now, I'm not going to be biased, but if I had to sit here right now between the two New York teams and say which one do I think has a better shot of actually doing something in the next couple of years, I think it's going to be the Giants.
The problem with the Jets is Woody Johnson. Like he's the one holding that team back. I mean, he was the one who brought in Aaron Rodgers, and then the stuff comes out last year about his son handing out game balls during Halloween. You have him throwing, Robert Saleh under the bus. You have the stuff with the Madden ratings, more or less. So I couldn't tell. I mean, I hope Aaron Glenn does well. But I don't know what happens with something like, say, Justin Fields. I mean, he didn't really do that great in Pittsburgh. I mean, he had his moments, but he was more of a game manager. He didn't really break any of that high flash ability. I mean, Russell Wilson showed more in that at the Steelers offense, but it might just be the offense, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, I'll just put it this way. If Justin Fields actually does something well for the Jets this year and knock on wood, they actually do something, they're going to build a statue for him outside of MetLife Stadium.
Oh, I bet.
I'm
I
just going
bet.
to say it. I mean, at this point, when people ask me, what teams do you follow? I'm like, I can't really sit there and admit I follow any of the New York teams because unfortunately, none of them right now are doing anything.
Hmm.
That's wild, honestly. But
Yeah.
I will, but I do have a follow-up question about the Steelers. Is that where did I put it? Here we go. So obviously, you've made videos about the Steelers in the past. You've talked about how the team from I want to say since like Saxonville era when they got obliterated by the Jags in the playoffs, about how
Hmm.
much you said you hated that core with Roethlisberger and Le'Veon Bell and all those guys. Do you still have the same feelings you did nearly 10 years ago about them than
I
you do
mean,
right now?
I hate them for a different reason. I mean, you think of that, like the talent they had on that team. They had the opportunity to be something truly great, but they undid it with their own arrogance and a bad defense. I mean, they looked past their opponents. They would always fall into the same traps. And honestly, I don't know if they've really learned much of anything, especially with how they're trying to fix things with high profile veterans when in reality, I think it's going to move the needle all that much. I mean, Aaron Rodgers at 41 with a ruptured Achilles a couple years ago, he's not going to do much of anything. He wasn't that good in New York last year.
No,
But
and anything the Jets do and they touch just turns to shit. I mean, it's been like that for about 15 years or so.
hmm
I mean, that on its own, it's just ludicrous. And it's funny because my wife and I, we're going to the Monday night game in week 6 for the Bills Falcons game. And they're doing a
Oh,
throwback jersey set between the two teams, supposedly. And the something that my wife wanted to do when we go to Atlanta is because we're talking about the Jets for a little bit, is I got these custom made shirts around the time you made the Madden video. And this is actually why I got them, it's because of you. Is I got a shirt with the Jets logo on it. It's a white plain t-shirt and in green printing, it says the Jets are stupid. So I have one for myself and one for my wife when we go to do all these other cities because it's like we need to spread the word because the Jets just suck in general.
Well,
just end the season.
uh,
Exactly.
you're an
Just ends the
18 said it
suffering.
perfectly.
It's one of the few constants I've had since I've started. It's like the Jets suck. Lol Jets. Done.
Oh yeah.
But actually, speaking of the Jets, are we going to be getting an updated shitpost video of the Jets in the near future or any other team for that matter?
I'm hoping half century of failure for the Jets. I still have to start on it, but it's due. It's time. You can
I would
do a lot
love
with
to
that
see
one.
that.
Uh,
I would love to see a Jets legacy of failure video.
it, just want to say one thing quickly with the Jets. It's sad to sit here and say that the only Jets quarterback in the last 15 years who's actually done anything is also the same guy who was responsible for the butt fumble.
Mark
Sanchez.
Sanchez.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, you're right.
Oh man. That says something.
I mean,
I
I
mean,
would argue
you're
with
not wrong.
Pennington. I
No,
mean,
Pennington a little bit, but true. I mean, Testaverde a little bit as well.
yeah, but Sanchez got the Jets to 2 AFC Championship games.
I don't know about that. I mean, Sanchez to me was Sanchez was there for the ride. It was mostly the Jets defense. Because I think anybody who followed the Jets that year, because Rex Ryan best said it best, let's go get a fucking snack, took those snacks from the fridge all the way down to the AFC Championship game and beat the Pats in one of those 2 years. And I honestly think it was really the defense that got them there, not Mark Sanchez.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I agree. I get what you're saying though, but as much as the defense did help, the offense had its moments.
Mhm. I mean, they had a pretty
Mhm.
decent run game at certain points.
Oh yeah. I mean, they had Matt Forte at that time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did for a couple of years, and I think they
Yeah.
had LT, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
they
They had
did.
LT in his latter stage. So
Was that
yes.
also Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, Jet, no, Jet Le'Veon was 10 years later. So,
Okay.
like, he see after his holdout, he got his money from the Jets, and he still lost because he lost a lot of money in those negotiations, and he fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Hey, James Cook, take some notes because you're gonna end up like Le'Veon if you don't take the
Oh yeah,
contract
he
now.
decided it's like, oh yeah, well I'm not gonna play in the first preseason game, but then he compromised. They're like, yeah, I'll come out for warm-ups, but that's it. And he thinks he's
Hmm.
worth 16 million a year, which is more than what Saquon Barkley's getting.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. Well, I
Saquon
mean,
season. Go ahead,
you
Tree.
can make a legitimate argument that Le'Veon Bell and like like guys like him, Zeke, and you know David Johnson, they set the running back market back years, and
Yeah.
it didn't come back until Saquon.
Well, I mean, McCaffrey makes like what, 19 million at this point, or lower than that, Tree.
I'd say around 18, 19.
Sounds about
You're
right.
right. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be worth it because of the injuries, but who knows?
I would say, unfortunately, McCaffrey. There's a thing in sports I've come to realize: a lot of players who you think are going to be good end up becoming injury prone because you
Hmm.
got guys like McCaffrey. I'm going to throw another name in there, but it's more on the baseball side of things. Mike Trout.
Yep.
That's a prime example.
Yeah.
There's a reason why everybody sits there and praises Mike Trout, yet I'm one of the few people who will sit there and say, no, I think he's 100% overrated.
Well, he's injury prone. He's a tremendous player. He's not what he was,
No.
unfortunately. I mean, the injuries have taken a lot out of him, but when he was in his prime, he was special.
You know who else is like that, though? From the Yankees, John Carlos Stanton.
John Carlo's a physical freak. He just ends up in the shop the whole time.
It,
And he doesn't have the fielding prowess.
no. But no, but as far as, just come back to football for a second, I mean, you see it so often where these guys, have one good year, then the team will basically roll back the Brinks truck and basically tell them, oh, look, what do you want us to pay you? And then the next year they crap the bed. You
Hmm.
see it so much. And I mean, look at the Jets. Jets are a prime example of that.
Yeah.
They chase instead of like more or less like build their own. Like I feel like the Steelers are getting in that sort of thing too. Like they chase. The Giants are kind of in that boat too.
Well, I think the thing is, for years, especially when the Giants were coming off of their two Super Bowl wins in the mid 2000s, for a while it was always the Giants won the big game and the Jets won the back page of the paper.
Hmm.
That's unfortunately that's a saying that's been going on for years. Is Woody Johnson was more concerned of what was said on the back of the New York Post or the back of the Daily News that if his team were to win.
Hmm. I think the thing is like it makes sense with Woody Johnson because I mean a lot of people hate his guts, and I think he relishes in that drama. Well, remember, the Jets got good recently when Woody Johnson was out as an ambassador in the Trump administration. When
Yeah,
he came back, it got bad.
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah,
go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, do we have to remember the John Idzik days?
Oh Lord, that was a rough stretch for a couple years.
I'll put it this way: you want to have great radio? Listen to Mike Francesa when he was still doing the afternoon show on WFAN,
Oh my
right
God.
after a bad Jets
Wow.
loss.
Oh, I bet Jets loss, Mets loss. Like there's some big moments there. Like it got
Oh,
bad.
You know
I
what's
mean,
funny? I was actually at the game that John's talking about, which is ironic enough. I was
Oh,
at that Bills Jets game because Sammy Watkins literally runs into the end zone like he forgot he was playing in an exhibition game in the NFL. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was on a breakaway and he gets tackled either by his legs or by the back of his dreadlocks and he just goes down. And I remember just sitting there, I'm like thinking, yeah, the Bills were shit because I remember Kyle Orton was the quarterback at that game.
Oh
And I
God, don't
remember
remind me of him.
yeah, Kyle
Kyle
Orton was the
Orton.
QB at that time,
Oh.
and I'm just saying to myself, "Wow, this is shit," but I'm having fun.
but I mean, God. And then another example, I said it before. Go back to that Patriots game, Thanksgiving night.
Yeah,
Oh, that was beautiful. I mean, it was a massacre, and then the butt fumble just it was icing on the cake.
Like I said before, it's sad when you look at Jets history and you can look at more stupidity.
It's great for the rest of us. I mean, I feel the same thing. Like I deal with it with the Pirates, so
Mhm.
trust me, I can relate in some regard.
Yeah, and
Well,
I'm dealing with that with the Sabres with 14 years of misery right now too. And
Hmm.
then of course I even look back at like two of the worst buyouts we ever had, Ville Leno and Christian Ehrhoff.
Villy
One
Leno.
good
Oh,
season. One good season, and then it's like Darcy Regiera's like, "Oh yeah, here we go. Let's give you the Brinks truck," and then he ends up doing absolutely nothing, and we end up
yep.
having to pay him for 8 years.
And
Hey,
Matt Molson too. I mean,
Oh
he
God,
had a
yeah.
big extension. That got pretty bad.
it could be
Of
worse
course.
though. You guys could be Knicks fans. Just saying.
Well, Knicks are at least decent now. That's the problem. But uh,
Yeah, but are they? You're an interim issues. Are they that decent though when they fire their head coach after he took them to a conference finals?
there was a lot of drama in regard to that team beforehand. So I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Like,
yeah,
Hmm.
he's just very butthurt about that. I mean, I'm not even a basketball fan, but the last time John was on the show, he was just like, this is the worst thing that that Dolan could do, and I'm just like,
Right.
yeah, this is also the same guy that just so happens to run the fucking Rangers,
Yeah.
and
Didn't he bring back Mike Brown?
yeah.
I knew it.
Well,
I knew he
Yeah.
was going to do
the,
that.
the problem is they were going after guys like Jason Kidd. Go
Hmm.
and they would ask these teams, and the teams would be like, no.
Yeah. I mean, you already had Jason Kidd, but too late.
Right. Yeah, and apparently now they ended up getting TJ Saint as their assistant. So
Hmm.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's bad being any sort of New York fan right now.
I bet. I mean, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. But no, I was gonna ask you another thing too. It's with Clickbait Sports. Who ended up finding who with the four members, and whose balls do you like to bust the most on there?
Oh, well, what ended up happening with that was it was supposed to actually be a foursome between me, Fi, Brandon, and Tom. I believe Brandon and Five had the idea and they proposed it to us. I think Brandon was the one who proposed it to me. And like we figured out, yes, we had one big stream. It was just like everyone just throwing money at me and Tom for whatever reason. I don't know why. So, and then Scooter comes to us and he wants in. So that's why we have the five of us now. And I'm surprised we've lasted this long. We're nearing, it's past 4 years now because I remember we started it after the Cleveland Browns video or the Browns playoff game where I had the crash out of crash outs.
Yeah, I think I was actually in one of your episodes. I think it was, you might remember this one. I don't know. But it's the one with Fernando Tatis as the thumbnail. I forget exactly. And I had technical issues going on that night with my volume and with my microphone and all that stuff. I forget.
Not sure. Trying
It
to
was like
think.
maybe 3, 4 years ago.
I'm trying to think. Like I might have used you in a video. I'm not sure though.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
Because I remember I invited you on my older show, Buffalo Bobcast, about 5 years ago during the pandemic, and I
Yes.
said, hey, thank you for coming on. And he said, well, because, you brought me on, why do I bring you on to Clickbait Sports and I'll introduce you to the guys and all that stuff. And then I remember that night because it was like my microphone went to shit that day, and then there was a bunch of other problems as well with my volume. And then
Oh
after a
yeah.
while, we were starting to talk about whatever it is we were talking about.
I think so. I mean, it's all a blur to me now because there's just so much that happened back then. I try to blank out the pandemic. I'm sorry, but it's just
No,
like,
it's okay. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
yep.
But
I think a lot of us try to blink that whole thing out.
That's why we don't mention it again. I can't believe it's been over 5 years, but
Oh.
it's like that repressed memory you think about. It's like, oh yeah, that happened. Let's not speak of it again.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Just shove it in the closet, never bring it out again.
Hmm.
That
Well,
was that was
I was,
something.
I was gonna say it's sad though when kids now in school are learning about that as a history lesson.
Oh, don't worry. Just wait until you have kids. Remember when people said, like we asked our parents, what was it like when JFK got assassinated? Now it's going to be like, what was life like during 9/11 or
Oh God,
COVID?
don't
Oh,
remind me.
Now
Yeah.
9/11's a history lesson.
Well,
right.
Tree, to be fair, I was born on 9/11.
Oh, geez. 9/11/01.
92.
Okay. I mean, but still, that's disturbing. I mean, like you celebrating your birthday and then it just turns into that. It's just, a fun fact. There is a NHL player who was born on September 11th, 2001. Do you know who it is?
Oh God, is it an East or Western player?
Eastern player,
Metro, Atlantic.
Metro.
Metro.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, Atlantic.
Atlantic. Okay. So it's probably somewhere in the range of Boston or Florida.
Actually, Toronto.
Toronto. Okay. It's not Matthews. It's
No,
not any
and
of
I
the
know
big
the answer
stars.
to this, so
You do,
Hmm.
Tom?
I do.
What is it?
Hey, let you guess first.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, fine. All right, fine. I'll think.
Yeah, and no
Um,
looking it up either.
I
Yep.
I don't even have my phone on me, so it's all
Okay,
good.
cool.
I was gonna say, is it Brandon Carlo?
No, Nick Robertson.
Hmm.
Oh, Nick Robertson.
Yeah,
Damn.
because I looked it
Yeah,
up randomly. It's like, wait, he was born on 9/11?
I
That poor bastard.
yeah.
I
Oh,
actually know somebody who was born on 9/11 of 2001, and he just so
oh.
happens to play for the Ravens.
Ooh, who is that?
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers, the number
Wow.
one pick. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he
Hmm.
was born on September 11th, 2001.
I mean, like out of all the odds, there were like a couple thousand kids that were born that day, and to think two of them are professional athletes.
Right? And you know what's even crazier is even though I know it's a joke, some people actually say that it was your fault that 9/11 happened. I'm like, how's that my fault?
Oh, they're
It's
doing
like,
that to get under your skin, dude. You know that.
Yeah.
no, no. Well, I mean, I know that they're joking with me, but it's like, oh, come on. I mean, that's a low blow. I mean, in a sense, but still, it's pretty shitty on its end. But
Hmm.
what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
But
you can't do anything about it.
oh, not at all, not at
Yeah.
all. But I actually do have one question for you about future generations to come. I mean, whether it's when you retire, if you ever think of doing so, or you have a new level of videos coming out in the near future over the next 10, 20 years or so, or if anybody that's watching right now, they would be like, oh, I want to be like Urinating Tree. What advice, though, would you give to a young kid if they want to one day be a YouTuber like yourself in that
On
field?
Honestly, main advice I usually do is just start creating. Just start making videos about anything. Find like your voice, find your personality, go from there. And honestly, like the big thing is don't focus on making money or subscribers or fame. Just focus on making content you want to watch and that other people want to watch in proxy. Because if it's not entertaining to you, it's not going to be entertaining to anyone else. It's just that's always been my philosophy in terms of things. So honestly, like there's no real pressure. I know it's intimidating, but at the end of the day, there like we've a lot of us have gone through multiple iterations. Like I went through an iteration before the sports thing. I was doing random stuff before this. 5 Points Vids was a Madden YouTuber before this. Scooter Regruiter was actually successful doing like general comedy. Brendan Perna tried a thing before this. He was an editor. Tom Grassi had been grinding for years. So it's one of those things where sometimes things just evolve on their own. So you just have to be able to be patient and find. And even then, it's you never know what happens. Because I've seen guys that have come after me, short form content that just pops off. It can happen overnight. It's a slow burn. It's both a blessing and a curse in some regards because there's a lot of grind, but at the end of the day, it's not about monetary reward. It's about like personal reward. I started doing this as creative release, not because of like any expectation of success. So it's just one of those things that you just have to just try and do.
That's the best way to put it. Because, like, I know people, and I know it's a double-edged question here, but, like, I know you started small, you worked your way up, and of course, the media gets in a lot of ways, in sports and any news
Hmm.
outlet for that matter. What's your opinion on the media today, as far as in the sports media, like
Ooh.
ESPN or like any big corporation?
I know with ESPN, I think they're trying to get to that grassroots organization, but the problem is they've delved so ta deep into hot take culture. The only way they can generate controversy is if they keep like being more outrageous and more like bold and brash with their takes. And that's what gets people talking. Like, I don't have a problem with Stephen A. Smith because he knows his role. It's to generate clicks. And how does he generate clicks? By making the zaniest shit imaginable. It's the same thing that Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp do. I know they just cut Shannon Sharp because of a sexual assault lawsuit, but I mean, you bring in Pat McAfee. I mean, you know, like what he's doing. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but at the end of the day, he knows his role and he knows what he does. He doesn't really try to extend himself in any way. I mean, that's part of the competition. I know ESPN's like, I mean, I'm not trying to like think like we're living like in their minds, but I think they see like the grassroots campaigns going on online and they see it as potential competition. So they're trying to like at least compete with that in some regard too, which is why they brought in Pat McAfee from the internet. I think they brought in a social media platform, I believe TikTok star. I forget her name, but I think
Oh
they recently
God.
brought her in too to help out with some of their social media. So I think that's the next logical step is they're going to try and poach some people. I don't think it's going to be me. I'm not exactly family friendly or media friendly,
We aren't
but
either.
it's like I can see them like trying to go after someone like a Scooter Magruder. I mean, the Scooter Magruder they did it with they've featured him on a few shows, I believe, on ESPN. So they've done with him like not on the air, but some of his skits. I know they've done it with Annie Agar as well. I think with certain like media outlets too, and they also don't forget Pat McAfee. So they'll
Well,
do
yeah.
that. I think they might go for Perna too, but it depends. Grossi, I don't feel like he'll ever like join them because he just prefers to be his own guy.
I personally don't blame Tom for that one bit. I mean, he's already got the the formula, the foundation. He doesn't need it. I don't
Oh,
think,
of
at
course not.
least. No. I would love to have him on here one day. That would be like legit awesome to have Mr. Grossi on I-86. That would be
Hmm.
like a wet dream for anybody in a smaller market like us. I think that would be crazy and that would be awesome to have, honestly.
I agree. I mean, he's pretty accessible. Like, I don't know if his DMs are open, but he's pretty open to interviews. He's just pretty busy. That's the only thing.
Right. Didn't he just move to Wisconsin?
Yes, he just did about a week or so ago. So like he's been focusing on the move. He actually just showed his house on the last clickbait. It's a really nice place.
Nice.
Wow.
So they've just been doing some like renovations, moving in with their equipment. He had to deal with a huge hornet's nest. So that was
Oh,
that's fun.
I hate Hornet's Nest. I mean,
yeah, same here.
I work at a parks and a recreational job, and I deal with hornets' nests all the time. I hate it.
Uh,
Yeah.
the worst ones for me are the underground nests
Oh,
because
yeah.
you don't know what they are. Like I got a pretty bad bee sting, I think not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before when I was mowing my lawn. I thought it was like an underground nest, but it was like, oh my God, because like they usually swarm the nest.
Yeah.
The thing I usually do, I get like a bottle of distilled white vinegar. I
Mm.
will find where they go in their nest. I'll wait till about the evening or twilight
Yep.
when the bees nest, and I will pour that shit in there, and I'll be like, "Yeah, fuck you, you son of a bitch, fuck you." That's what you try to get me. I will pour
Yep.
the whole thing in there, and I'll be like, "I'll
Oh,
drown
man.
them."
Yeah, I literally that happened to me in my old house a few years ago, and it's one of those things where there was this really deep nest, ran over it, and of course, ended up taking a couple in the leg and all that fun
Oh,
stuff, and those things were brutal too. But then it was like one of those things. No matter even like trying to spray it initially, is like, oh yeah, them things ain't gonna be dead.
oh,
So
not at all.
actually, what I figured was one other way to do it. Dichotomous Earth. It's like glass shards of those things. Just dump it in, and basically that eventually killed all the nests. But digging that thing out, I was like, holy shit, that thing's deep underground.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man.
Yeah,
I
nuts.
I actually have two theories, Trey, if you want to give it a shot, because I work in this department all the time to kill yellow jackets. The first one is if you take like a bowl of gasoline, wherever you can get it from, any sort of resource material, just get a bowl of gasoline at your house or whatever, and put it up against the hornet's nest because
Yeah,
they can't.
and they'll suffocate and die.
Yeah,
I've
the
I've heard
vapor.
that one before.
Yeah. And the other one I was gonna say was get like a plastic container, like a storage container, get a plank piece of wood and nail it onto the container. Put soap, like dish soap water, in
Hmm.
the like container, and put a piece of turkey leg. And just nail it into the wood and watch the yellow jackets swarm in and just take a bite at it. But once they fall into the water, because of the soap, they can't get out and they suffocate and die.
I know, like what I usually do for I'll sometimes see nests try to form. What I'll usually do is I'll mix a spray bottle of Dawn dish soap and water and just spray it and kill the queen.
Yeah, that
I
stuff
mean, that
works
works every
wonders.
time. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Whatever kills them
Either
quickly.
that or WD-40 even.
WD-40 wouldn't be a bad idea.
Usually DW, isn't it like for like metal, like if you have like a squeaking wheel or something and you need
Yep,
some sort
squeak.
of
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I do it for like squeaky doors.
Yeah.
Works wonders.
Yeah, stuff gets in there
It's a
and it's
lubricant.
yeah. Yeah, but then to the bees, it basically destroys their outer skeletons.
Good.
So it's well those yeah, once they lose that, they're done.
I hate Yellow Jackets, period.
Yeah, me too. Hornets are
Yeah,
bad too. Hey, John, and I think you got something before I know you needed to hop off for your next interview.
Yeah, I got to hop off. I got an interview I'm doing right now. But you're an entry. Last question I got. You mentioned
absolutely.
Pat McAfee before. I come obviously I'm part of with them with the sports, but I come from the world of pro wrestling. And we're seeing this big crossover now, especially as the news just broke of WWE going to ESPN and
Hmm.
UFC now going to Paramount. What's your thoughts on the whole thing about, pro wrestling sort of becoming more mainstream now than before?
I feel like it's already been mainstream for the most part, but I know like that's the first time they've really done it with ESPN. I think they may have shown a broadcast or two in the early days, but I think it's more or less just they're trying to expand their horizons and really build on their market. I mean, I think isn't UFC like going to Paramount Plus, so they're losing that
Yeah,
relationship. They're losing baseball, so they need something else to fill the void. So they figure wrestling would be a better medium for that, and they decide to go with it. And they're also doing it with the NFL network. So they're taking their broadcasts too, because the NFL network was pretty much bare bones and ESPN's taking them over right now. So
absolutely. But again, you're an entry. It was great to catch up with you again.
absolutely, man. Good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you. And hopefully one of these days I can get you on my show at some point.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Absolutely. Guys, I'll catch you guys on the other side.
All right,
Rock
thanks,
on.
John. All right. So I was gonna say, Bobby, before we go ahead and wrap up, were there any other questions or things you could think of?
No, that's about it. But Tree, we just want to say thank you for coming on tonight. This is truly an honor to have you here. We would love to have you again in the future.
Definitely. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, welcome back to I-86 After Dark, of course. We've got myself, the Ginger Hammer, of course, Buffalo Bob is here. We hope you enjoyed the Urinating Tree interview that you guys got to see just a few moments ago. And of course, we thank you for sticking with us. So, of course, we are sponsored by Simply Best Cleaning Services here in Buffalo, New York. If you need water cleanup, mold remediation, or general services, of course, give them a call. They're available 24 hours, 716-912-6940. And of course, they will take good care of you, and they do work with major insurances as well. So, with that, we have some hockey news we want to talk about, and there's a lot of different things going on. But one of the first things that we wanted to talk about is Matthew Schaefer in New York here with the Island, because there's been some things that you mentioned were pretty interesting. Talking to our buddy Gil Martin earlier today.
Yeah, so previously today on the latest episode, as of tonight's recording, Gil Martin went on the Locked On Islanders podcast like he normally does every day throughout the season. And as you know, the New York Islanders are going to be going into training camp tomorrow morning. And
Hmm.
one of the players that was going to be there is Matthew Schaefer, and he still will be there. So Patrick Waugh was brought up recently about like how what's the
Hmm.
the approach about Matthew Schaefer, like what do they do in that situation? And Patrick Waugh said on Monday during prospect camp or mini camp, he said that his experience with Nathan McKinnon as a rookie will be a model for how the
Hmm.
Islanders will handle Matthew Schaefer this year. In other words, Waugh's big key experience was time. Because if you go back 10 years ago, Nathan McKinnon was a rookie in the NHL and he was playing on the third line. Like, I forget who
Right.
they were playing. But Nathan McKinnon was not a first line center right away. He wasn't Sidney Crosby, but he did start out on the third line and he had a very successful career and they gave him the right pieces moving forward. So, to give you a brief idea, in that rookie year, McKinnon played in all 82 regular season games that year, which tallied up 24 goals, 39 assists, and 63 points. And he was also a plus 20 and played over 17 minutes per game. So my question to you think, Tom, is do you think just based on that analogy with how Patrick Waugh is using this, do you think that they're going to take this approach with Schaefer like they did with McKinnon?
It's interesting to see. And now I haven't seen a whole lot of play of Matthew Schaefer as of yet. I have looked at some different highlights. I think he has the ability to really make some difference here in the NHL. And definitely I think he can do a lot of good things with you guys down with the Islanders. Do I think he potentially cracks the lineup and plays as a rookie all year? I think it's possible. I sincerely think it's possible. Do I think that maybe there might be a little bit of development that's needed? Sure, but I think he has the tools to come in and actually make an impact for you guys. So I honestly would not be surprised if you see him up for the first like 9, 10 games and then he stays up here for the year.
Yeah, no, because remember, because a rookie in that deal for an ELC in the first year gets 9 games. The issue is Schaefer is too good to go back to the OHL.
Right.
He could go, play college hockey and whatever, or he could play in Bridgeport or even play in the big boys club.
Hmm.
I'm very interested in what they do because I suspect, just based on Patrick Waugh's comments, I think that uh they're going to try everything in their power to give him the best, you know, resources to be successful in the NHL.
Hmm.
And Schaefer's been very well hyped. And I'm not going to
Yeah.
sit here and pretend that, Schaefer's the second coming of Darlene. I don't know about that. But he is a very good skater. He definitely handles the puck well. And he's also a big hulking figure.
Yeah.
So
And he's
I
got good speed on top of it.
absolutely. And if Schaefer were to make the team, he would be the first rookie defenseman since Rasmus Dahlin to make the opening night roster.
Yeah, and that says a lot. And of course, speaking with Rasmus Dahlin, he was chosen as the captain of the Sabres this year. So, good for him.
Huge props, man. I mean, I know it's been shitty over there, man, and I feel really sorry for you on that.
Mhm.
But Dahlin's a hell of a player. I would love him on
Yeah.
the Islanders, but
Yeah, he's definitely been one of the consistent players that we've had over the last several years since he came into the league, and just with what he's been able to do and how he can control a lot of things defensively, I mean, it's a big plus. Absolutely love it, and he is one of the people that I totally respect in terms of what he brings to the game and how he's able to play. So, no, good to see that he's going to get to see. And from there, I know there were some other captains that were selected, and I know an alternate, Alex Tuck was one of them. Why the fuck did they choose Matthias Samuelson as an alternate captain is beyond me.
I mean, the dude is literally made of glass, and all I have to do is just read the stats. That's all I have to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, it's like, why would you choose him? It's like, good Lord, what's he gonna do? Be out 40 games again? And then of course Tage Thompson is an alternate, which he deserves it. So, I agree with Took and Thompson being an alternates and Darlene being the captain, but good Lord, it's like Matthias Samuelsson, no.
Well, how many assistant captains do the Sabres have right now?
They have three.
Three. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not. So you said Samuelson, Tuck, and Thompson.
And Thompson will be the assistants and Darlene is gonna wear the C.
Okay. See, who was the captain before that? Oposo?
So Okposo was the captain before he ended up getting traded, and then Darlene's been captain since.
Well, I mean, it's official now at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, definitely is. So,
I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that it should have been Tuck who deserves to be the captain, but the thing is, he still hasn't signed a contract from what I was told,
mhm.
and he has not signed his contract yet, and he wants to stay in Buffalo. But in a way, I think it's kind of smart they did that because giving it to Darlene, he's an established player in this league. I think
Yeah,
it would just be borderline disrespectful to not give it to Rasmus Dahlin. I mean, he's been on the team for a long time, and I think for a
right.
guy who's been on there for so long and he's been suffering in Buffalo for that time, you have to at least give him the captaincy. He's one of the
Mhm.
best defensemen in the league.
Yeah, and one of the highest paid players on the team too. So, I mean, you've got that, but he shows up. I mean, he is consistent night in and night out, and he makes impact plays. So he's definitely a cornerstone of that defense. So, good to see him, get that and being able to continue in that capacity there. And then, of course, there's some other news that ended up coming up in the league this week. And how about the Columbus Blue Jackets? Because Ivan Fedotov, or shit, I can't even say it right today.
Ivan Fedotov.
Fedotov got traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, great. So another Russian goalie goes to Columbus and could be an established NHL netminder. I wonder who that
Hmm.
sounds a lot like.
Yeah, we've seen that before a few times.
Yeah, almost like Philly has learned absolutely nothing, and you wonder why the Flyers have been a fucking joke in the last 15 years. Oh, no, no, no. Let me go back for a little bit, Tom. How about the last time the Flyers were actually good with a consistent goaltender? Let's go
Hmm.
back to 1997 when fucking Ron Hextall, who was on his last leg at the time. How about
Oh
that for name?
God.
Holy shit, the
Yeah.
Flyers had a legit goalie at that time.
Right. And of course they haven't had anyone legit since. So
And oh God, the Flyers right now, as far as goaltenders, the Flyers have a goaltending carousel problem. They're the
they do.
Jets of hockey when it comes to this topic. Because how many quarterbacks have the Jets had in the last 15 years? Like 10 different
Yeah,
starters,
it's
11 different
crazy.
starters. The Flyers are in the same category. They have not had a franchise caliber goaltender in that time frame. I mean, yeah, if you want to count
Yeah.
like the late Roman Chickmanic, may he rest in peace, Jeff Hackett, Robert Esch, Antero Ninemaki, help me out here, Ilya Briskalov, Michael
Hmm.
Layden, who went to the Stanley Cup Finals. He was
Yeah.
probably the best goalie the Flyers have had at that time.
Yeah.
Uh, and they had Ilya Briskalov. They had Sergei Bobrovsky, who, by the way, they traded to Columbus.
Right.
As to why we're talking about this, I can't even think of the best consistent goalie the Flyers have had since they went to the Cup 15 years ago.
Yeah, they really haven't had consistency. Consistency. I mean, Leighton was good, but that might be the only measure of consistency that they had. They really haven't had much. And Bobrovsky for Philly was all over the place half the time.
I can't even tell you who Philly's goalies are right now, unless I go on like NHL.com, which I'm gonna do right now just to be sure. Is I don't
Yeah.
give a shit about Philly. I'm just telling you right now, I
Right.
don't give a shit about the Flyers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. They have like the revolving carousel of goalies.
It's embarrassing if you think about it by proxy with how
Hmm.
fucking like they're really imbeciles. Really, I can't fathom. Okay, you want to know who the Flyers goaltenders are right
Sure.
now?
Sure.
Okay, as of this recording, these are the four goaltenders on the Philadelphia Flyers roster: Carson, yeah, Carson Yardison, Samuel Ersson, Alexei Kolosov, and Dan Vlader.
Who are half these people? Like seriously. Like who are half these people?
And you trade for Fedorov?
Yeah, that's pathetic.
What is wrong with these people?
Yeah, seriously.
What
It,
what are they banking on? This is what I don't understand. What the fuck are the Flyers banking on in this situation?
right. It makes no sense whatsoever, honestly. And you know what? It's almost like when Columbus ended up pulling that draft pick for Yegor Chinikhov that nobody even knew about and wasn't even in the top 200, but he actually sort of has established himself.
Here's the thing with the Flyers, though. They have a decent farm system, but their biggest player in the advertisement perspective is Matvey Michkov. Matvey Michkov is easily the best player on the Flyers,
Hmm.
and he's their franchise guy. He's their
Right.
Michael Jordan, as of we speak. And that's not saying much. And I'm not saying that Matvey Michkov is a slouch. I'm just saying the team around him is
Is not
garbage.
good. Yeah, they're
It's
not good.
mm-mm.
And they haven't been for some time. And it's almost like, in a sense, I mean, yeah, have they tasted the playoffs more than the Sabres have in the last 15 years? Yeah, they have. But at the same time, the Sabres actually have some talent around. They just have no direction.
Yeah, the Flyers are the perfect example of a team that expects to do the same thing over and over and over and over again
Hmm.
and expecting different results. That's the
Yeah.
Philadelphia Flyers in a nutshell.
Yeah. Also known as the Peter Principle. So, of course, with that being said, we do have some other news that have come up as well. And this was actually a pretty big story this week where Carter Hart got acquitted of all charges.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. The Canadian court system is screwed. Okay? The Canadian system and the justice system, like, I'm not going to get into Canadian politics because I don't know anything about it. But as far as common ground, you honestly should have not been playing in the NHL. And the fact that he got acquitted
Hmm.
just speaks volume about this whole ordeal. And it
Right.
wasn't just Carter Hart; it was also Mike McLeod and everybody else that was involved.
Hmm. And now they're technically eligible to come back.
Yep. And here's the kicker too. Chris Johnston of Sportsnet said that multiple teams have interest in signing Carter Hart as a free agent, and he's expected to reach 2 to 3 year deal by October 1st, and he can't register until the 15th. And the priority is finding a fresh start with chances to win and a meaningful number of starts, and likely at a U.S. based team. So, in other words, he's not going to the Oilers, and
Hmm.
he's not going back to the Flyers.
Right. And he's likely not going to the Sabres because they did something stupid and signed Alexander Georgiev.
Yeah, and the Islanders are not going to sign him because they already have Ilya Sorokin, they
Hmm.
already have Semyon Varlamov, and they signed David Rittich.
Right. So you guys are all set. And then, of course, if we need to, I mean, we've got UPL, we've got Georgiev now. We can get Devin Levi from Rochester, which I would love to see Levi get some more starts down there just because there were some times he was a little inconsistent this past year. But it's like, if I'm like Kevin Adams, why am I going after Alexander Georgiev?
I actually found out why, and it turns out, according
Because
to
he's cheap?
Adams, no, I found out because UPL is injured.
Well, yeah, and they claim it's a tweak when here's the thing. If it's a tweak, you're not signing Alexander Georgiev. I'm sorry, you're not signing him.
Well, apparently they are because they outright did it.
Yeah, which was absolutely beyond stupid. So,
But wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Go back a few months ago.
hmm
Didn't the Sabres sign Alex Lyon?
yeah, they did.
We're not even in preseason, and there's already drama in Western New York.
hmm Yeah.
I mean, hell, Broad Street is going through drama right now.
hmm
Carter Hart gets acquitted. The Flyers trade Fedotov, and then the only team I can logically think in my mind right now that would have an opening for him, for Carter Hart to play in a certain amount of games,
hmm
honestly, Utah.
Yeah.
To me, Utah is the best spot because I read early this morning that Connor Ingram requested to be waived by the Mammoth and his contract is going to be terminated. So that makes me think that Utah is going to give Carter Hart a chance to play.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that all pans out. I mean, and Utah's got a pretty nice up and coming team, so it could be a nice little starting opportunity, perhaps, give him a little something that he can work with. But that being said, who knows what we're going to see in Pittsburgh because Marc-Andre Fleury is back with the organization as he has signed a PTO with the Pittsburgh Penguins where he got his start.
Yeah, he's signing a 1 year, preseason deal for one game in September, I believe the 27th. It's a Saturday game. And if I'm not mistaken, the Penguins have a preseason game on that day against New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And he did a lot in that city for a long time. I mean, he ended up getting some Stanley Cup wins, which is always good. And then he
It's
means,
Columbus.
well, yeah, but it'll be good. Good for him. And you know what? And hopefully, hey, things go well. And I mean, ultimately, if he retires as a Penguin, hey, good for him.
He's going to retire a Pen. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah, yeah. So, but no, I mean, I've got to see him play in person, and great goaltender, and he did a lot, especially in his prime. I mean, he was definitely up there among some of the best. So, good to see that. I mean, who knows? Maybe we see him when we go down there in November. Maybe we don't. But I will tell you, I mean, right now the Pens need all the help they can get in net because a lot of that team right now is trash.
Well, yeah. Plus, I also should say into account that Flory is about 40 years old. I don't think
Right?
the Penguins have any room left to, discuss that with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
don't think, if he's signing a PTO deal and playing a preseason game with the Pens and they sign him, I think that's just really like, I guess, milking nostalgia, if you will.
Yeah. Kind of just let him go out and, do it one more time, and here you go.
Yeah, no, it's crazy too. But speaking of preseason, I actually read something. Remember that comment I made a week ago about Kirill Kaprizov saying the
Yeah.
Minnesota Wild were not going to pay him, or
Yep.
the Wild wanted to pay him, but he said no?
hmm
Okay, so bookies.com, according to Adam Thompson, who's a veteran odds maker in quotation, he put together a hypothetical betting odds of where Kirill Kaprizov could be playing in the 25-26 season. And as of right now, there's a bunch of other different teams. And the front runner for Kaprizov shoot me, is the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh boy.
Yep. So as of right now on bookies.com, Carolina has a 20% chance to get Kirill Kaprizov. A lot of people said Detroit. A lot
Mhm.
of people said Chicago. I'm not sure. And here's the problem with this. Mikko Rantanen didn't even want to stay there.
Right.
So what makes me think that Kirill Kaprizov would be willing to stay in Raleigh?
Well, exactly. And then thinking about how bad Chicago is right now, I have no idea why Kaprizov would even want to go there.
I mean, Chicago, I think the only logic would be is to play with Bedard. That's the only logic I can think about.
Right. But they have nobody else around him. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty fucked up problem.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks, and he's going into what, year three, and he has no help outside
Yeah.
of Frank Nazar.
Yeah. And that's like all he has. I mean, he has no help around him. Their goaltending sucks. Their defense sucks. I mean, they're literally the most bottom feeding team right now.
Yeah, no, Chicago, they're going to be in the bottom again. But if you
Yeah.
get Kirill to go to Chicago, not only would that be a big slap in the face to Wild fans,
Hmm.
but he would be probably the biggest traitor in the state of hockey since like John Tavares left Long Island. And that's
Yeah.
saying a lot.
Yeah, it is. And who knows what will happen in that situation, but Chicago easily bottom three team this year. Again, just like the last couple years, they're easily bottom three.
I mean, we'll just see. I mean, if they improve, then okay, then I would definitely consider otherwise, but I'm not counting on Chicago. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. If the Blackhawks, in my opinion, if the Blackhawks do not improve in the next 2 years, including this year, I could see a situation where Connor Bedard does not sign a long-term deal with the Hawks and he could just outright request a trade.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does, quite honestly. I mean, especially if they give him no help again, possibly going into next year. It's like I wouldn't be surprised if he wants out.
And plus, I'm pretty sure Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, Chicago has a lot of cap space.
They do. They just don't want to spend.
Well, that sounds like a them problem. As of
Yep.
right now, the Blackhawks have $18.66 million. And if that accurate, if that, asking price is anywhere close to accurate based on what
Hmm.
Kaprizov is saying he would be paid much higher than McDavid, which realistically I don't think that's going to happen. But if that were to somehow happen, Chicago is going to have a serious problem because
Yeah.
if you look at Chicago right now going into the new year, they have $18.662 million to play with, and they still have guys on that team that still need work. For
Hmm.
example, you have guys like Andre Burakovsky, who's making $5.5 million until 2027. Tyler Bertuzzi is a free agent in 2028. But you want to sign some of the, core guys. You want to sign Lucas Reichel. You want to
Yeah.
sign Frank Nazar, who just got extended not that long ago. You have to pay Connor Bedard. So that's
Right.
one thing. And the other problem that they're running into is they have to also pay Kevin Kaczynski, who's a dominant player, in my opinion. And
Hmm.
then you have, Wyatt Kaiser, which, by the way, that actually the Blackhawks just signed him.
Okay. All right. So at least they took care of that, but still, it's like Chicago. It has like absolutely nothing around Bedard, though.
Yeah, no, it's not a good look. And if I'm not mistaken, too, they also have to sign Artem Leshtvanov as well, and he's 19. So the
Right.
Blackhawks, so if they bring in Kirill by any means necessary, this is going to be a huge cap problem.
It would. And then it screws up a lot of the building that they may try to do, which is not good. And then it sends Bedard a bad message at the same time. It's almost like, okay, well, hey, we screwed up the cap, deal with it. And it's like, oh, you want out? Whatever. And it's not a good look for them.
The problem is they can't ignore his request because he's the face of the franchise.
Right, exactly. Especially when they drafted him a few years ago. So it's going to be fun to watch what happens there, but I don't expect much out of Chicago at all. And quite honestly, it's going to get worse before it gets better over there. It's just what I'm seeing right now with it. But in addition to that, then of course JT Miller was named a captain. So I know that's one of the things you wanted to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, so JT Miller has been named the 29th captain in the history of the New York Rangers going into their 100th anniversary this October in 3 weeks from now. So, or no, actually, I'm wrong. 2 weeks from now,
Yeah.
because next week is in the late 20s. And crazy
Yeah.
enough, my sister gets married next Saturday, which is
Hmm.
nuts. And
Very
then
cool.
after that, we're in week 5 of the NFL season at that point.
Yeah. And then we're already getting underway with the NHL fairly soon too. So, good old hockey season's gonna be back. Then of course basketball will be back right after that. So of course we'll have all the major sports going on, and baseball will be coming down to a close. So
Yeah.
we have that coming up soon.
So, because this is going to be your last show for a little while,
Hmm.
I need to ask you, because I know you're not going to be around for the main show, but you'll be around for the interviews.
Yeah.
What are your expectations on the Buffalo Sabres?
Um, do I
Give me
want to
your
use
honest to
wishful
God
thinking,
opinion.
or do you want me to be blunt?
Just be honest.
Yeah.
The whole show's about honesty.
Yeah.
Don't lie, because
Yep.
that's not worth it.
Of course, of course. So yes, I will be gone for a little bit, but I will still be here for interviews. I'll still be here behind the scenes. Honestly, for the Buffalo Sabres, I'm not expecting much this year. I'm really not expecting much. I think will we be a little bit better? Sure. I think we will have a few more wins. Do I think we're a playoff team right now? Absolutely not. I don't. We should be, but I don't think we are. And here's the problems we run into. Our offensive pairings, we're okay. We have some good talent there. We have some good goal scoring. Tage Thompson knows how to find the net. He's our primary goal scorer. Then if you look at Alex Tuck, he absolutely knows how to score as well. And we do have a good supporting cast there. Defensively, it's not horrible, but we do need some work. And of course, Dahlian's going to lead the charge with that. Goaltending is the biggest problem I see right now. And especially if UPL is hurt, and they say it, and it's more than what a tweak is. And if we're going to be seeing time with Alexander Georgiev being in net, God help us all, because you know what? Honestly, right now is like Villy Leno 3.0. He is he's had some good flashes, but then he sucks. And then it's like, oh, what did Darcy Regier do? Villy Leno had one good playoff flash. Oh yeah, let's sign Villy Leno to an 8-year contract, and then you have to freaking buy his ass out.
Didn't you also pay Christian Ehrhoff like $40
Yeah,
million?
we did that too, which that
And
was
by the
another
way, you piece of
problem.
shit, you took him from the Islanders like 2 days after they acquired his rights.
Yeah, and then we had to pay him double his term because we had to buy his ass out.
You're an assholes. You know that. I just want to straight that. I just want
Yeah,
to say that to
Regeer's
your
a
face
moron.
15 years later. I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah,
sure, Garth Snow's a fucking idiot, but he could have paid Garth.
right.
I mean, he could have paid Ehrhoff. He could
Yeah,
have
he
done
could
that.
have. Yeah, and he did good things with your team. So, the fact that we signed Alexander Georgiev is totally stupid. We could have gone after some other goaltenders on the market. I think we should have gone after some other goaltenders on the market, or in free agency or whatever it was earlier in the summer. But the fact that you're relying right now on Alexander Georgiev if UPL is out, yeah, this team ain't going anywhere anytime soon. I'm sorry,
I'm,
guys, but we're gonna have a playoff drought again.
Well, here's my thought process. I'm looking at the Sabres roster right now, and there are a lot of people on here that I recognize as young talent, but there's
Hmm.
a lot of people on here as well that I don't even know who I can even point at as good at this point, because the
Right.
Sabres are, to me, the Sabres are a mishmash. They're
Hmm.
hockey's equivalent of the Browns.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it is you have guys like Zach Benson, which magically his number 6 will just make him a 40+ goal scorer. I mean, shoot me
Hmm.
in the head.
Right.
Um, Josh Stone, who you got in that JJ Peterka trade, which I know you're
Right.
still bitter about that, by the way.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Hey, if Doan can produce, then that's one thing. But it's just it's crazy.
Yeah, Tyson Kozak. I believe that's Tyler Kozak's kid, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
you have Peyton Krebs, who,
He's underwhelmed.
yeah, no. And then you have Jake Blesession. That's Curtis Blesession's kid, which I still to this day don't understand what.
Yeah.
What are the Sabres trying to prove? That's
I don't
that's the
know.
that's what I'm trying to figure out from
I
you.
don't get the ulterior motive with it. I really don't.
I don't understand Kevin Adams' logic. Like, yeah, I used to be a Sabres fan, and I don't know anything about them at this point now. But looking back on what Adams was saying earlier today, by the way, he said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, we have to earn the respect of the fans back." I'm like, "Well, actually
Wow,
do
you
something."
figured it out.
Yeah, he actually said it. I watched the clip when I was on my breakfast break, and he's like,
Wow.
Yeah, he actually said this, and he's like, "Yeah, we got to get people to actually come to the games, and in order to do that, we have to win games, and if not, then people will not respect us." Like, wow, Kevin, maybe you should have, I don't know, traded JJ fucking Paterka a while ago, and maybe you wouldn't have to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Or better yet, spend some money in free agency, actually get some, like, maybe two good players out of it, actually pay them, and maybe make a difference.
Yeah, I want to see how much money the Sabres actually have because I can tell you right up front, the Islanders as of right now only have $1.63 million, dollars, and that's
Hmm.
not a lot of money, so they
No,
can't
it
really.
isn't.
The Sabres, you want to know how much the Sabres have right now?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
five
for it.
point 5.19 million.
Yeah, so they've got money to play with.
Yeah, a little bit of money. That's how they got Georgiev.
Hmm.
I mean, fucking Christ. I mean, can that team do anything right?
Right now, no. They got to get a president of hockey operations, again, an actual GM that knows what the hell they're doing because Kevin Adams doesn't know what he's doing.
You know what's also ironic too is I also saw some clips on Instagram earlier from the Sabres themselves, and
Hmm.
they were taking photo shoots with the goat head jerseys. I'm like, wow, it's almost like you prioritize the fucking goat heads. Like we're supposed to be impressed that oh
Right.
wow, to me the goat head is being treated like a cock tease instead of actually you know putting a good productive team on the ice for
Hmm.
you guys. Instead, they tease it like a big advertisement.
Yeah, it's like just put a good team on the ice for Christ's sakes. I mean, well, and I am actually sporting the Go Ahead hat tonight, but it's like give us a good team for a change. Get some decent impact players. I mean, there are good impact players that you don't have to spend a ton on, but at least for the love of God, give us something here.
Yeah, you guys are in desperate need of something, and lucky me, I'm wearing the fisherman jersey to
Hmm.
kick things off.
Yep.
If you look at,
Yep.
but but my point is that as far as because if I'm sure you want to know my expectations on the Islanders.
Yeah, go for it.
So my expectations on the Islanders, because I'm not going to see you for a while, my expectations on the Islanders are, uh, I don't expect them to be a playoff team.
Hmm.
I think that this is a retooling year. They have a new GM.
Yep.
You have a new set of assistant coaches with Patrick Waugh. You also have new players coming in. You have Jonathan Drouin coming in from Colorado, and then you trade away Noah Dobson, and you bring in two young rookies from the trade.
Hmm.
So everything is like it has its moving parts as far as I'm concerned. And
Yeah.
I think of all the people that I'm the most excited to see play with is Matthew Schaefer. But I
Yeah.
did read too that Max Shabanov, the top prize KHL player
Hmm.
who came over to from Russia to the Islanders, he's actually going to be paired up on the top line with Anders Lee and Bo Horvat to start training camp.
That would be interesting to see how that works out.
If it doesn't work, then you put him on the second or third line. I have no issue with that.
Right.
It's a 1 year rental. If it doesn't pan out, then so be it. But I think realistically, I think the power play, I hope, is going to be better because their power play and their penalty kill was a fucking shit show last year.
Oh yeah, I remember we talked about it on the show a few times where you were just like going off about it because they were like one of the worst in the league.
Yeah, because it was a fucking joke. Because of the fact that Lou ran it like a fucking country club, and instead of establishing, a set of coaches that's going to get the team moving forward,
Hmm.
instead he brings in former Devils alumni to coach a power play unit that they have no fucking clue about. And plus, Lou was also practicing at that time nepotism because John McClain, who was one of
Hmm.
the assistant coaches last season that ran the power play, his son Kyle McLean is on the fourth line. It's like holy shit, almost as if it was rigged or something to have Lou and
Right.
his son, or John McLean and his son to be on there. It's like holy
Hmm.
fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's like where have we seen that before on the Sabres? Matt Ellis,
Oh
who
yeah,
has
no,
no place anywhere that he should be coaching. And why he's still with the Sabres, I don't even know, but he should have been gone a long time ago.
no. There's a bunch of players on the Sabres or coaches on the Sabres that should have been gone a long time ago, and that's just my honest to God opinion. But
Yeah,
based on
seriously.
Yeah, but based on like everything that we've seen going into the summer, I got to tell you too, another big factor is health because Matt Barzal only played 30 games last season.
Hmm.
Semi Villar only played 30 games till last November, and he was out for the whole year. That's why they brought in Riddick. And
Yep.
then I'm really, really excited to see what Emil Hyman brings to the table because a lot of people have said, from Matthew Darsh, he said that he wants Emil Hyman to be a cornerstone of the new identity line into the
Okay.
future of the New York Islanders.
Yeah, and at least, and I will say, Razal, I mean, you guys had a good draft this past summer. I mean, your draft went well. I think you guys really built up in a lot of key areas. Of course, getting Schaefer is the big prize out of all of it. But honestly, it'll be interesting to see how you guys play down on the island because with a lot of the new additions and what you're going to be developing down there, and then of course with some of the other changes and Wah being able to have his own staff, you know, I think there's a lot of like promise in there where, the team can go up, and that's a big plus. And I like the fact that Darsh is, you know, like getting away from what Lou Lamoriello did and basically looking at things in a good way and not using the nepotism route.
Well, I mean, there are some things that I think Darsh is still learning as GM. I mean, I'm not
Mhm.
going to crap on him. The most I give an executive to judge based on, like, for what they have to see, based on what I have to judge on, in 2 or 3 years. I think that's the
Yeah.
max that you give a GM because some GMs, and I've seen this with the Sabres, where they fired Tim Murray after the third year because of the whole debacle with Dan Bilesma. I
Yeah.
remember that story.
Oh yeah.
Um, they kept and over here on the island, Jack Capuano stayed much longer than he should have been. Same
Hmm.
with Garth Snow, and I fucking despise him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I fucking hate Garth Snow, dude. But as far as you know, like bringing in incompetent coaches, the Islanders have overstayed their welcome. And don't even get me fucking started with Mike Milbury. All right, that dude is a
Oh
fucking
God.
cunt. Yeah, that
Right.
yeah, that guy is a piece of shit. Because first off, you could have had all these Hall of Famers on your team, like Roberto Luongo, Zdeno Chara, all those guys. You had a washed up Wendell Clark, Darius
Hmm.
Kasparaitis. We interviewed him a few weeks
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, he was part of it, and he said, "Oh, he's my guy," and then he trades him. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. Exactly. He even said it during the interview.
It's wild, and I had to say that to his face because I'm a fan, and I think he deserves to know it.
Right, right. And of course, if you haven't checked the Caspritis interview, take a look back at our first episode and you'll see it there in all its glory, including the bar fight that he talked about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was
And
worth watching.
yeah, no. So listen, guys. Before I lose my train of thought here, is um Tom said it in the beginning of the show that he's going to step down for a little while. I will be taking over, most likely as the
Mhm.
host, since I am the other half of the show.
Right.
So, because I don't know the technical stuff, that's up to John Blaine because he's going to be my co-host for
Yep.
the next few
Yep.
weeks or
Producer
so.
John will be here and then of course I'll still be here for some interviews and things going on and of course behind the scenes just have some side projects taking me out for a while, but it's not goodbye from the show by any means. It's just, taking a step back and a way to describe it. Think about what happened when and the Sabres when Jenneret and Dunleavy split time. It's kind of a little bit like that, where Dunleavy had some more time behind the mic, and Jenneret stepped back to do some other things. But you know what? I will still be here. I'm still going to be here during the season at different points. So it's not goodbye by any means. It's just going to be stepping away for a little bit, getting some stuff done. But you know. The show will be in good hands, and of course, you'll still have Buffalo Bob here, and then producer John will be here, and you guys will get to see some more time with him. And you know what? And I'll still be in some of the episodes as part of the interview, so you're not losing me altogether. So, it'll be fine. The show's gonna go forward, but it'll be good to get some side things out of the way, and then of course I will come back, and I'll still be here. So, it's one of them things, man. So the microphone gets handed over to you for the time being, and of course, with that being said, you know, um, show's going to be in a good spot. We're doing good things. A lot of good interviews coming up. Of course, we'll fill you in on those as they come forward. But definitely, we're still going to have a lot of fun with the show no matter what.
Yeah, no, I think we'll be okay in general. But I will say too is that because this is also your last show for a few weeks, why don't we talk about the preseason? Because training camp starts for both teams, both the Islanders and the
Hmm.
Sabres start training camp tomorrow morning.
Yes, so training camp's going to start tomorrow morning. Obviously, some of the things I'm looking for. I mean, Thompson's going to have another good year. I think Took's going to have another good year. What I'm interested in seeing is what Kesselring does and what Doan does, that we ended up getting from the trade with Utah. So I'm very interested to see how them two end up coming out and what they're going to do. But the biggest concern I have right now with the Sabres is goaltending, and that's going to be one of the key areas that I want to watch. And especially with Georgiev coming in, UPL being hurt, and Devin Levi, now there's that concern, who's going to get the most playing time? And Devin Levi had some good stretches, but the thing is he's got to be consistent, and he has played well in Rochester, but there were some inconsistency issues, especially when they went to the AHL playoffs last year. So so goaltending is going to be probably my biggest focus that I want to look at. And then also I want to look at defense too, because of the fact with having some of the different pairings that are coming in, that's going to be some of the key things that I look at. But you know what? Training camp's always fun. It's always nice to see the guys get back out on the ice and, see them getting into game shape again. I know with the preseason, I believe they shortened it this year also. So there's only going to be, a few games that we're going to be able to see. But I will say the Sabres prospect tournament wasn't good. I mean, the rookies lost. So there you
Yeah.
go. But no, it'll be interesting to see what ends up coming out of it. But I do look overall, I would expect that we're better this year. Do I think we're a playoff team just yet? I don't think so. There's still a lot of questions. But if the team can gel, if Lindy Ruff can actually get through to them and they can actually play more consistent and not give up a lot of odd man rushes or situations where you're getting smoked in the first period and a half, like we saw last year, then, you know, then we have something to look forward to. And as long as we don't have anything like that Columbus Blue Jackets game that we went to when you were up here last time,
Oh, Jesus
as
Christ. I
long as we
remember
don't
that.
have that again, then, hopefully things will be better. But no, goaltending and defense are going to be the two areas I'm really interested in watching.
Absolutely. I think for me, my biggest takeaway for the Islanders is, by the way, I should probably tell the listeners that the Sabres' first preseason game is on Monday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. against the Columbus Blue Jackets at Nationwide Arena. So we
Hmm.
should probably tell them that.
Yep.
But yeah, no. But as far as my biggest concern for the Islanders moving into this year is health. Because here's the thing about the Islanders. As most of you know that listened to the show over the last few years, before we even did the rebrand, is Lou Lamoriello was a very stubborn old fuck.
Hmm.
And he traded away first round picks for players that are in their mid 30s and then extend them into thinking, oh, they're part of the process and could do no wrong. But
Right.
the issue here is I mentioned it earlier. Barzell got hurt last year. Filarmov got hurt last year. So there's a lot of parts that were moving around.
Hmm.
And Darsh, I think, did a pretty fair job in his debut as GM, trading away Nodov's, getting two first round picks, which is huge,
Right.
and really rebranding that farm system, drafting uh Victor Eklund and Kayshawn Aitchison, and of course Matthew Stafford. That was a
Hmm.
given. But I think the biggest thing is the health side of things because Barzell, his skating, he may not be 100% for the rest of his career. We really don't know, but I would love for him to stay healthy. Same with everybody else. Defense was banged up last year. The offense, there was no clicking after Barzal went down. Goaltending was atrocious. Sorokin needs to play less time and not carry the team on his back because that's
Hmm.
what happened last season. And then, of course, in between all that is consistency because Patrick Waugh was just literally given all of Lou's guys as the assistant coaches. He
Yeah.
brings in Bob Buchner and he brings in Ray Bennett from the Colorado Avalanche, in which, by the way, he won a Stanley Cup with a few years
Hmm.
ago. So my big thing about the Islanders is I want them to find the right pieces and really move forward. I love the Jonathan Drouin signing. I think that's a great veteran presence to
Yep.
have. He's a great compliment to these kids, which is going to be huge. I also love, like I said earlier, I love that Noah Dobson trade. But I also think at the same time, David Riddick is going to be a really nice backup piece in case if, God forbid, knock on wood, that Ilya Sorokin or Semyon Varlamov get hurt. I hope they don't, but That's what I'm holding on to. And as far as the young kids, I'm very interested in how they develop because not even a year ago, the Islanders had like one of the worst prospect pools in the NHL. Then they drafted Cole Eiserman.
Hmm.
Then they draft those other three kids I was talking about earlier. Now they're in the top 10, which is crazy. It's a
Yeah.
huge jump. And then on top of all that, most of these kids are going to be playing in their first ever NHL games, debut wise in the preseason.
Hmm.
That's happening on Sunday, September 21st at UBS Arena when the New York Islanders take on the Philadelphia Flyers.
Hmm. Yeah, and we actually have a little bit of breaking news out of the Sabres. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is listed day to day, and he will miss the start of training camp with a lower body injury.
Oh, this is not lovely. Just twist the knife
Yeah,
even more.
exactly. I'm like, great, here we are again. So, yeah,
Well,
that's that. But they also did announce five players are going back to their junior clubs after the Prospects Challenge ended. So Mariusz Kucharczyk, Melvin Novotny, Ryan Rusinski, and Ashton Schultz, along with defenseman Luke Drasika, are all going back to juniors. So that was that. But yeah, UPL missing the start of training camp, not good. That's not good. And especially if it's that hip injury that he had, reoccurring over the last few seasons. I'm almost wondering. I mean, I loved when he first came out in the Prospects Challenge several years ago, and when I got to watch him in the rookie camps back even before we had Buffalo After Dark, and then even before we even became I-86 After Dark, for that matter. But now, knowing that I gotta say, he's injury prone at this point, and quite honestly, if the Sabres can get something good for him, I would look at it as an option down the road because right now, if he keeps getting that lower body injury, which is most likely the hip injury that he's had, you got to do something. You got to do something, and you
that's
got
what
to get
happened
a good
to
goaltender.
Farley. Is that
Yeah.
Farley had a hip injury, but then again, Semyon Varlamov is 37 years old.
Hmm.
That's a huge
That's a
age
big
gate.
difference because UPL is only in his 20s.
Yeah, Farley is almost in his 40s, and he's
Right.
not even halfway through this goddamn contract because Lou Lamoriello signed him to a 7-year deal.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, no, Lou is a fucking idiot. You can't just spread money and expect it to just to click. That's not how this works anymore.
Right. Exactly. So it's just not a good situation with UPL being hurt. And then, of course, on top of that, some of well, at least what they're saying is that the imaging is good, so they're going to try to rehab them and see how to get them, back in better shape. But here's another thing. Alex took his day to day with a minor injury and may miss the first practice at training camp starting tomorrow. And on top of that, Jordan Greenway now had a second surgery in July, and basically that was after a setback in his recovery from the injury that affected him throughout the season. So apparently he's going to miss all of training camp and supposedly will not start until opening night.
Well, that's going to be a big problem for Buffalo at that point
Hmm.
because they need to get all of their guys healthy if they're going to even be close to competitive. I mean, and listen, I am begging for them to be good. I
Yeah,
want them to be good, but
yeah,
they do this to themselves because competent coaching and competent ownership, you know the drill by this point.
yep. We've already talked about it, and so with what they're going to be doing, 61 players are going to go into training camp, which they're going to have 32 forwards, 21 defensemen, and 8 goaltenders. So what does that tell you?
It tells me the Sabres are scrambling and they're desperate and they know
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm thinking. I mean, do I want the team to win? Yes. Do I want them to get into the playoffs? Yes, that would be great. Finally, if that can happen, that'd be perfect. But for right now, are my expectations low in terms of them not making it? Honestly, yeah, they are. Because I don't think they're good enough right now with the direction that they have.
Yeah, no, I personally wouldn't blame you in this situation because the Sabres have been so bad for so long. It's almost
Hmm.
like you don't really know what to do with yourself at that point because they've been so incompetent for so long. I mean, how do you think I feel? The Islanders were like this for a very
Yeah,
long time. They were
yeah,
like that.
yeah. You went through it. We're going through it. It happens. Could be worse. Could be Chicago, which actually performs even worse than Buffalo.
I wouldn't say that because Buffalo was consistently bad before Chicago became good. Because at least Chicago, I know it's like over 10 years old at this point, but they still have that Cup dynasty.
Yeah, they did. But when you look at the last few years, it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be, but then again, you never know what you're going to run into. And by the way, some of the players I want to mention on the Islanders training
Hmm.
camp roster for 25-26, some of the players that are going to be at camp this year are guys like Matt Barzal, who I said,
Yep.
Jonathan Drouin, Anthony Declaire, who actually came out and said they had a better conversation with Patrick Waugh since he was humiliated in front of the whole media back in March. So
Hmm.
there's that. Emil Heineman's going to be there. Julian Gauthier is going to be there. Obviously, Bo Horvat's going to be there. So there's a bunch of guys. Guys like Ross Minton from the Bridgeport Islanders, a Long Island kid. He's up and running. So it's all good.
Yeah, and actually, the Sabres announced their camp roster also, and some of the people that we'll see, of course, there's Zach Benson, as we know, Cosentini, Justin Danforth, Josh Doan, Josh Dunn, Riley Fiddler Schultz, of course, Greenway, who's expected to miss camp now, Mason Geertsen, Consta Hellenius. He's going to be one that I'm really interested to see what happens because he's been lighting it up. And then, of course, Jagger Joshua, Tyler Kopf, Tyson Kozak. Again, we'll see. Um, Krebs, obviously. Beck Malenstein is going to be another one that we're going to get a look at. Let's see. Victor Neuchev, Josh Norris. Noah Ostlund, Jack Quinn, obviously, Isaac Rosen. And then, of course, some of the defensemen that we're going to get is Isaac Beliveau, and then Simon Pierre Brunet, Josh Bryson, or I'm sorry, Jacob Bryson. Of course, we're going to see Byram Dahlin go at it. But then, of course, we're going to get our first look at Kesselring, which that's going to be one of the players I'm really interested to see what he can do. And then Radom Murtka lit it up during the prospects tournament. So he's one of the rookies that I'm really interested in taking a look at. And then of course, we have Zach Metza also and Nikita Novikov. So there's going to be some interesting groupings that they're going to have. And then just to give you an idea of the goaltenders, Georgiev, Ryerson, Lenders, Topias Leninin, Levi, UPL, Alex Lyon, Sam Malosh, and Scott Razlaff. So that goaltending group, I'm not enthusiastic about, but at least, when you look at some of the offensive and defensive pairings that there may be, there are some interesting things to look at.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the Islanders. I mean, they got some pretty decent players too. Like I mentioned before, Barzy was going. Casey Zizekas is coming. Bo Horvat's going to be there.
Hmm.
Pierre Engvall is going to be there. Anthony Declaire, Jonathan Drouin, just some of the name guys. But the main depth guys that I want to point out on the offensive defensive side of the puck, excuse me, Max Sipakov's going to be there, and he actually almost went to arbitration over the summer, so
Hmm.
that would have sucked.
Right.
But there's two guys on here that I really want to point out here, and that is Cal Ritchie
Hmm.
and Luca Romano. Cal Ritchie, right now, is the Islanders' number 2 prospect in their entire pool behind Schaefer.
Hmm.
Cal Ritchie, if you know, he was in the Brock Nelson trade back in March that got him traded from the Avalanche to the Islanders.
Right.
That was a trade that Lou pulled off. That was brilliant. But Cal Ritchie, and personally from personal experience, I got to see him play over the summer at
Hmm.
Islanders development camp. He is actually really fucking good. He is a big kid. He's got a really good shot, and he's also
Hmm.
a very good skater. And he's projected to make the starting lineup in October. That's how good
Nice.
Cal Ritchie is going to be. And then Luca Romano got drafted in the 3rd round, out of the OHL. And I think he goes back to junior, but he definitely has a very bright future on the Islanders for sure. It's Sipakov, like I said, he's another Russian player that came over the KHL, and he's going to be
Hmm.
fine. But as far as the
Yeah.
defensive side of the puck, you have Ethan Bear, Adam Boakfist, Tony D'Angelo. You have Isaiah George. That's still a guy that that needs some work going into his 3rd year.
Hmm.
You have Adam Pelech, Ryan Pulak, Alex Romanov, Matthew Schaefer, and then pretty much that on defense. And then you have, like I said, Scott Mayfield. But then the goaltenders, just to give you an idea, you have Marcus Hogberg, you have Burke Hood, Tristan Lennox, Ilya Sorokin, Semi Varlamov, Henrik Tikkanen, David Riddick, and Parker Gagan, and that's pretty much that as far as
Mhm.
goaltenders go for the Islanders.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I don't know if Mirka will make the team initially. Of course, he was the ninth overall. But in terms of what he was able to do, I mean, 6'6", he can definitely play physical. He can play nasty. He had really good energy that ended up coming out in the prospects tournament, and that was he was the huge standout that ended up coming out. And actually one of the things that he did early on in the first game against the Devils prospects, he ended up laying a huge ass hit in the offensive zone on the to kill off a New Jersey rush before it even started, and he also scored in the 4-2 loss. So then he carried that nasty streak into the game against Columbus the next night, and actually was involved between the whistles and after the whistle, and he used the size to not only clear net, but he also pissed off a lot of Columbus Blue Jackets, which was great. So I love the fact that he's got that nasty streak on him, and of course he has great speed on top of it. And I mean he's gonna still adjust a little bit, but he's had a really good first step in terms of getting there. And then some of the other things that were noted too. Osland had a great rookie season in the AHL last year, and he just has to adjust to the physicality. And then basically from there, Hellenius was a good standout. Rosinski was okay. He's probably going to go back down, honestly. But one of the things that they mentioned, even though Hellenius didn't have a point in the three prospect tournament games, he did find other ways to make an impact with the forechecking and also just getting under the skin of everybody. So that was a big plus. And then you want to take a guess at who is the most promising of the defensemen other than Murtka?
That's in the prospect pool or on the actual general
Yeah,
team.
in the prospect tournament.
On the Sabres outside of Paterka,
And I'll give you a clue. It's a Russian.
okay, Russian. So it's not Darlene. He's already on the team, so it doesn't matter.
Dahlin's Swedish.
Wait, who?
No, it's not Dahlin. Well, definitely no. You said Dahlin's Russian. He's not Russian.
I did say he was Russian. I said he's not Russian. That's what I said. I don't know who.
Nikita Novikov.
Hmm.
So, so basically, they said he was much more composed from when he first came to Buffalo. He's learned how to play a simple but effective game. He's got the size. They said his movement and puck skills are actually more advanced than Veselov Komarov. And then they also mentioned that the only reason that his path to NHL games right now is blocked a little bit is because of all the left-handed shots on the chart. But it's actually not bad because thinking about it, what some of the pundits are saying, giving him more time to play in Rochester is going to help him when he makes the jump up here. But he had a really good showing in the prospects tournament. And then they also mentioned Matteo Constantini actually had a pretty good outing too. But they said the goaltenders were shit during the tournament.
You know what's funny is that as far as like setting kids down to go back to junior or the
Hmm.
AHL, whatever, if Cal Ritchie does not make the team come October, the most that they could do is put him in the AHL because he's way
Yeah.
too good at this point to go back to juniors. He's already spent 3 seasons with the Oshawa Generals when he was in Colorado. So his
Hmm.
time over there is done. So he has
Yeah.
two choices. He can either go to the NHL or he goes to the AHL. He's at that point. He's pretty much ready to come up. But it's just a matter how he does it and how he approaches it. But as far as like players that are in the system for the Islanders that are trying to compete for a spot, Kayshawn Aitchison's an interesting one because Kayshawn Aitchison actually got injured a few weeks ago.
Hmm.
And it was said that he was going to miss some time. Like he was going to miss, development camp and mini camp, whatever, but he'd be ready in time for training camp. So this is actually a good thing. So Aitchison might not be 100%. That guy's only 18. So if he doesn't make the team, at most he'll go back to the OHL and he'll
Hmm.
play for the Barry Colts. I'm not expecting him to make the team right away, at least for another 2 or 3 years. Some kids develop faster than others, which
Hmm.
is in this case with Aitchison. Eklund, you could already say, is not even in North America. He's back home in the SHL
Yep.
with True Gardens. That's where he was originally playing in to begin with. And then outside of that, though, there are some players that could make the team. Like I said before, Jesse Nurmi might make the team this year. Obviously, Cal Ritchie is the big one that a lot
Mhm.
of Islander fans around here are saying he has definitely a good shot to make the team. Um, Aitchison, I expect him to go back to the OHL. Even if he had even though he has a phenomenal camp, I still expect that to happen. The
Yeah.
goaltending is very interesting because Sorokin, as you already know, Sorokin's one of the best goaltenders in the NHL, bar none. That's not the issue. The issue is who the fuck is going to take the spot down
Right.
the road. Varley is not getting any younger. He's 37 and he hasn't
Mhm.
played since last November. He might not even make it on time for the starting roster because
Right.
of, Riddick and all that stuff. But then you have Marcus Hogberg, who is absolute hot garbage. You cannot deny that if you're an Island fan. Marcus Hogberg came in from Ottawa, did nothing on the Islanders, and filled the void when Farley got hurt. And then outside of that, everybody else, Burke Hood and Tristan Lennox, both of these kids, especially Burke Hood, is amazing. I'll tell you
Mhm.
that firsthand. Is that once again, like I said about Cal Ritchie, I got the opportunity in July to see them at development camp, and I got to tell you, Burke Hood looks great.
Nice, nice. And here's a couple of things that they basically mentioned with the tournament we had here. So basically what's going to happen, Tobias Lennonen, Ryerson Linders, and Samuel Milosh. Linders and Milosh are going to likely go back to juniors. They're not ready. Lennonen likely back down also. But two players that really made some nice impacts and were the most productive during the prospects event. Red Savage, Matteo Constantini. Apparently, there is speculation that it's not out of the question one or both could earn a contract this year. So that's going to be interesting to see what ultimately happens with the two of them. But they were consistent in production and they were showing up and they were earning points. So, of course, if one or two of them make the jump, hey, that's great. But goaltending is going to be a big concern, especially if our prospects are not up to expectations. That's a problem, and that's something that the Sabres are going to have to address.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you because UPL I've watched for a while, and I think he has the potential to be a good starting goaltender in
Yeah,
the
he
league.
just keeps
But
getting hurt.
the big thing that absolutely fucking killed his development was the hip injury he suffered a year ago.
Yeah.
That did not do him any favors because you
No,
have to
it did
understand
not. And it actually, even before that, I mean, he's had consistent hip injuries.
that's not good because you need a strong hip to be an established goaltender for the next
Exactly.
15, 20 years if you're lucky to play that long. A lot of players don't get that kind of opportunity. But here's the thing with UPL. He's been with the Sabres farm system now for about 8 years. He's been the
Yeah,
starter for a few years now. At that point, you have to have a serious discussion of whether or not you're going to actually trade him.
right.
Because I know that he just got an extension, but I'm pretty sure it's tradable if you can get the right price for him.
Yeah. And you know what? And if I'm Kevin Adams, I would honestly look at that and get stronger goaltending because it's not a question of if we know it's needed. Now is a question of when.
Yeah, no, don't even bother asking the Islanders because they're going to say take Varley.
Yeah, trust
That's
me, we
the
don't
only
want him.
way I can put it.
So, of course, there's our little look at the upcoming training camp and everything for you guys, and of course, we gave you some prospect stuff as well. But um, with that being said, was there anything else you want to cover before we wrap up?
Yes, there is one more thing I want to say. Actually, two things. Number
Okay.
one, we both want to just say thank you once again to Urinating for giving us the
Yes.
opportunity to talk with you. You were awesome. No doubt about it. We would love to have you on again in the near future. If we could possibly work that out, I'm sure.
Yeah. And who
And
knows if
hopefully
we
we
can see
see
you in
you for
Pittsburgh,
whether they're
it's even better.
there you go. That's what I was just gonna say. We hope to see you in Pittsburgh. Get some beers or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, man, thank you for coming on. It really means a lot to us, and we look forward to seeing you down the road. And as for you, my friend,
Hmm.
uh, I think I'll be okay. As long
That'll
as
be fine.
yeah. I mean, if I have to go solo for these things, then so be it. Hopefully not, but I think I'm gonna be okay. I think
Yeah.
that I'll have John playing with me. I'm not doing it by myself, but worst case scenario is I
Yeah.
would go solo. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not a
or if I have a
technician
night I have to,
guy.
or if there's a night I have to jump in, if schedule frees up a little bit, then I will. So, it's one of those things, man. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna do fine. You've only hosted the show for over 5 years now, so I've been one of the hosts. And it's not uncommon. One or both of us have gone solo a couple times too. We've done it, but no, show's in good hands. You guys are gonna do good. I'm gonna take care of some side projects, get those out of the way, and then of course I'll be back. So, it's not a permanent goodbye by any means.
Don't leave me hanging for too long, please. That's all I
You'll be
ask.
fine. You'll be fine. But no, I'll still be jumping on to do some interviews with you. I know we're gonna pre-record one this weekend, and then I know we have some stuff over the next few weeks. So I'll still be available for those, and you guys will still see me, even though I'm not on the live part of the show. You'll still get to see me on the interviews. So
Yeah.
so you're not gonna be losing me altogether.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. And as far as next week, obviously me and John are going to be on the show next week, so
Yep.
I'm not going anywhere for a little while longer. And then when Tom comes back from wiping his ass, and I think he's done a pretty good job of doing that, not getting bloody, but uh, as far as he cleans his ass pretty
Fuck.
well, he'll be back on the show. But um, John and I will take over, and
Yep.
next week's episode, we're going to announce who comes on the following week. Not this week, because Tree's already on here.
Mm.
2 weeks later.
Yep. So of course, stay tuned for that. It's a good interview. You guys will enjoy it. And of course, we got a lot of stuff coming up. So, in fact, there's some really interesting interviews that we just landed that we're not at liberty to discuss yet. But one of the things we will say is there's some really cool things coming up. So, stay here, enjoy it.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to share those with you guys. We've probably booked about, what, 10 interviews?
Yeah, something like that.
And we've
Mm,
already done like 6, which is crazy. But
yeah.
we're not ready to reveal any of them yet because half of them
Yep.
haven't started yet. But I actually spoke to one of the interviewees, and we have a deal in place for an interview in the near future. But that episode probably will not come out until I want to say November or December. But
Yep.
you'll find out who it is down the road. Trust
Hmm.
me, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, and we're not going to reveal certain things yet, but there is a very high profile interview that's going to be part of that.
Oh yeah,
So there's going to be a lot of fun that'll happen there. So of course, hey, stay here. But in the meantime, of course, we want to thank our sponsor, Simply Bus Cleaning Services, for sponsoring the show as always. And of course, if you guys need any services for water, mold remediation, general cleanup, 716-912-6940. They are open 24 hours and they will work with most insurances. So of course, give them a call. They do a good job for us here. So we appreciate them being part of the show. Of course, we appreciate you guys being part of the show as well. And of course, if you ever want to see any of our previous episodes, go to Spotify. And of course, we're actually on a ton of platforms now. So you can pretty much find us anywhere at this point. But in the meantime, Buffalo Bob and producer John will take care of you guys over the next little bit. And then, of course, I'm the Ginger Hammer for a little while. I'm going to say, appreciate you guys. Take care of yourselves and each other. I will see you soon.
see you in a bit.